Or you living for the struggle or honor? Should've make a nigga summon forefathers. I'm just thankful that my mother brought fodder. Should've brung a double dozen more flowers. Uppers or downers, blood of pure sour. Smoking through my last 24 hours. Same sun and moon, tug of war drama. Feel the tears look above and saw showers. I just wish I had 100 more hours. God's generous, but 24's modest. What we got a budget for? Can I borrow some of yours? Spend it quick as $24. Gone faster than my mother's warm chowder. I can feel the tender love and pure power. Here's 24, here's 24, here 24, with 24's hours. Would you trade your money for hours? Trade your hours for a couple more commas. First you see the dark and then you see the light. Then you see the day and then you see the night. I'm just narrating what I see inside. Think of my creator, I can read and write. Stumble on my path, I think I need a ride. Struggling in sadness, bring my evil side. Swallowing my ego when I eat my pride. Fighting to the end until I see the bride. All I got is day and night. Right, night is dark, day is light. I say good morning, then I say good night, day and night. My only options in the game of life, play the dice. You lose them both if you don't pay the price. Night is black, day is white, kind of racial right. Sundial, it's made of ice like a glacier might. Calibrated the way I like, count to 24-hour hand. Rotating twice, day or change the night. Mother Nature and Father Time had a baby and they named it Christ. They only son, I hope they raise him right. Daughter too, her name is Luna, but they ain't like when sun is down. You see her rising to her greatest height. Feel like E.T. on his flying, levitating bike. You'll see my shadow on the moon cause I was taking flight. Living like I made that shine. Yeah. First you see the dark and then you see the light. Then you see the day and then you see the night. I'm just narrating what I see inside. Think of my creator, I can read and write. Stumble on my path, I think I need a ride. Struggling in sadness, bring my evil side. Swallowing my ego when I eat my pride. Fighting to the end until I see the bride. I'll be mad if you ain't at my weight. In a race, blasting faith and some past the mace. Throwing bricks, wrapped in mask and tape. Take me from the fifth down to Astor Place. Let me see the grin on the bastard's face. I'm coming from the kin of the master race. Next to Nipsey in the master's race. I know the code, so I cracked the safe. Bury me with Sadie in his casket late. And we owners, so our master safe. Bury me in polo with a gat on waist. Victory is sweet, I need the aftertaste. First you see the dark and then you see the light. Then you see the day and then you see the night. I'm just narrating what I see inside. Think of my creator, I can read and write. Stumble on my path, I think I need a ride. Struggling in sadness, bring my evil side. Swallowing my ego when I eat my pride. Fighting to the end until I see the bride.
Yes. There you have it, y'all. Gambada featuring the brother RedPill off of that album, LSD. I'm talking about, yeah. All right, make sure y'all check that out. How does the audio sound? Talk black to me. How we sounding on the audio? You know what I'm talking about? How's the audio sound? They should have never gave me a microphone. That's all I gotta say. They should have never gave me. Let me know how the audio sounds. We got a mic with no mic stand. Sounds clear? That's great. Let me go ahead and adjust the volume so we can hear RedPill crispy. That's right. It's time to get crispy on them. I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm on 100. Yeah, that's right. You can hear everything. You get to hear it all. You know? Say thank you, technology gods. You hear me good? That's good. All right. So, welcome to another episode of Melanin Monday, episode 131. All right. We've been doing this for 131 Mondays. That's consistent right there. You know what I'm talking about? That's good consistency. 131 Mondays. and I'm still here, man. That's something. You know what I'm talking about? So salute to everybody. I got some people on here. They've been with me from day one. I got some day ones. Y'all been riding since episode 1. So I want to thank y'all for being consistent and riding with the God, and being here and getting some of this cloth. And for everyone who, you might have hopped on last week, this might be your first show. It's all good. We got the archives for you. Don't worry about it. You could dive in. You could get on your Scrooge McDuck and dive into that pool of wealth. You know what I'm talking about? Because this archive, it's not just regular Melanin Mondays where there's a black man up here talking his talk. No, this is good information, fact-filled information. You're gonna go ahead and comb through the archives and you're gonna come up with some gems that you didn't even know that you didn't have. You know what I'm talking about? So do yourself a favor and tap in to the archives and talk black to me. Let me know, how. Oh, Chris Ward been with us since 2015. Salute, King. I appreciate you. You know what I'm talking about? I appreciate you for being with us and for tapping in. I know I did something before where I asked everybody, when's the first time? Like, when did we make acquaintance with each other? Like, when did we meet? You know what I mean? Because honestly, once again, this is more of a one-sided thing. I don't know when I met you. You know when you met me. I'm not aware when we met. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't get that. I didn't get that memo. You just hopped on and then you saw me. But a lot of people are like, oh, I caught on to you in 2018 and we found you in 2019 off of a Google search. I'm like, well, good. That's a great thing. But don't rob yourself of 10 years of some cloth. I need you to go ahead and get in the time machine and go find Red and Blue Pill from '07, '06. Shit, if you could find me in '05, you're a legend. You know what I mean? That's like the dude Nardawar. He's gonna pop up with some '03 shit when he meets me one day. But if you could find '05 Red Pill, oh man, that's before my name was even Red Pill. But it's some stuff out there, you know. So the further back that you go, the more, to me, that's just my opinion. I think that we started out, like this. We started out super duper deep. We started out, I don't even know what the hell was going on, to be honest with you. I'm gonna need one of those Scientology clearing sessions so I can remember what the hell was going on in '05 that everybody was so deep. But we were children of Bobby and Phil and Delbert, Hakeem Bey and all of them, and we were on a very higher frequency than most of us are on right now. We was on Black Dot's book and we was vibrating on a very high frequency, right? Not to say that we're not doing that now, but it wasn't what you know as social media. What's up, Bashira? Social media hadn't evolved to what it is today. Facebook was out. MySpace, I was lit on MySpace. I had the King Tut on my page and everything. I was super lit. But it wasn't to the degree of neurological imprints, or it wasn't such a neurological project the way that Facebook, Instagram, and the new iteration of YouTube has become. Bruh, this is all this is dealing with the psyche. This is all dealing with what they call internet. What's the term? There's a term that they're using in the intelligence communities and whatnot, and it's dealing with utilizing social media to put, to both data mine, to gather up data, but to manipulate the masses by way of social media. They admitted that it came to a halt. It basically, they set it off during the Obama era when he was running, right before he got elected. That's when social media took a curve and became social media 2.0. I believe it's on 3.0 or 4.0 at this point, but it hit 2.0 when they saw the power of social media by way of Barack Hussein Obama, Barry and them. You know what I mean? Your man's in them, Barry. He was the one who opened this bitch up. You know what I'm talking about? He opened this up, and it's been opened ever since. And they've been utilizing, especially individuals who they call liberals. And I've said this before, the liberals is code word of a small hat. That's how they say small hats in politics and on CNN and on Fox 5 without getting in trouble with Netanyahu and these niggas. You know what I'm talking about? They just say liberals, but liberals is code word. It's a dog whistle. It's talking about the Jews. When they talk about the liberal left, they never say Jew though. They'll never mention their national. They'll never mention that quote unquote that name. They won't bring up that that term. They'll just say liberal. Liberal also, it's when I hear liberal, I see an old white man or maybe a middle-aged European. Let me be clear, not just a white man, European, because they don't call the Yahudis white people. They theoretically they're not identifying themselves as white. They're not identifying themselves as white. You'll be more correct by just saying Eastern European, because that's a little more geographically accurate. The Polish, they're Polacks, Russians, and people like that. That's where they come from. So when you hear people throw those terms around, that's mainly who they're referring to. I see people of a Eastern European descent, and I also see people of an alternative sexual lifestyle. You know what I'm talking about? Because when they also mention liberal, especially people on the right, they're also talking about LBGT. That's kind of like that goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? Liberal and LBGT, white males, that's one and the same. There's no distinction whatsoever. It's the Republicans that run around hiding and they don't admit what their sexual preferences are, right? Then they get outed and whatnot, like your man Jerry Falwell. Let me go pull that up while we get into the convo for tonight. They get outed that they like to touch toes and sleep with young boys and whatnot. I believe it was the Republican the Republican convention of 2016. I believe they were in Cleveland. Okay, right? And they were saying that the sex workers, young boys, right? The sex workers, the hotlines for the sex workers, these niggas was, Uber Skeets. They was ordering young white flesh, young white boys, pages, right? These Herculean, these Greco-Romans who are in these secret societies, fraternities, fraternal orders, the skull and bones and all of that, wild suspect, what I'm talking about? They all are in a secret, it's not really a secret. Their cults involve Typhonian / Herculean type of rituals. And when you do your research on who Hercules was, don't ever say Hercules. Don't fall into that, because the Herculean European is one who grabs ankles and sleeps with young boys. You know what I'm talking about? Hercules was a monster. So whenever you see them say that George Washington is an image of Hercules, or when they talk about Thomas Jefferson being a Herculean figure, man, don't let that shit ride, because what they're speaking about subtly is the fact that these are some wicked ass Europeans, very Caligula like. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to Ross Ben, who we're gonna bring back on the show. On his channel, he put out a video last week It's an hour long. It goes all the way into what it is that I'm just talking about. And he shows you in Philadelphia, right there at the gates of hell. If you're from Philadelphia and you've been in the gates of hell, put a fire emoji in a comment or in the chat, so I could, so we could be on the same page. Because I shot a video, a segment for one of my music videos in front of the gates of hell. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, these are some weird ass sculptures that they got on the gates of hell. This is right in Philadelphia, right near their city hall and whatnot, right near the steps where they run up on Rocky and shit. The gates of hell, Dante's Inferno. Yeah, the Thinker, right? But right next to the Thinker, there's young girls on the gates of hell, and they look like they're fornicating. And then on the other side of the Thinker, you have men in purgatory, skeletons, all of these gargoyles and ghouls and whatnot. Yeah, that's in what they call the city of brotherly love, which happened to be the quote unquote capital of the United States of America, or when they signed the Constitution. And then it moved to the District of Columbia based off of the fact that Philadelphia, they didn't have the tenets. They didn't have all of the tenets that were required to be a mimic of Rome. You know what I mean? They didn't fit all of the categories to be a resurrected Rome or a Nova Roma. A new Rome is what they call it. Paris did. So Paris is a new Rome. Washington, D.C., they were the ones who were chosen. That plot of land was chosen to be the nation's capital, and it's based off of all kind of ritualistic geomancy, ley lines, and all kind of other things. Once again, Ross Ben lays this out in his book, Free Your Mind, Free Your Mounds, and Your Ass Will Follow, right? And he also has videos on his YouTube page. I believe you could just put Ross Ben and you'll find him. RASBEN. Okay. So I didn't do the shout outs. I didn't do the roll call. That's mandatory. You know what I'm talking about? We need to do roll call because I want to know who is in the building, because we're going to have a few conversations tonight about some things. So I want to know who's in the building, from what part of the town, what part of the world y'all from. Let's do the roll call. Okay. Next week we'll have sound effects. Don't judge me. Delaware. Yeah, that's right. Delaware. That's where the LLCs get started. Who is that? Is that Joe Biden in the building? Is that Joe? VA 804. Philly. Atlanta. Harlem. NC. Wichita, Harlem. What up, Paul? MS, I'm hoping that's Mississippi. Seminole County, Florida. Yeah, rest in peace to Trayvon. 804 VA, Basel, Hazel, Bronx, and Vermont. 303 Ohio, Savannah, Georgia, with those trees. Putting in that Orisha work. That's right. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to the House of Savannah. I believe that's what it is, with the sisters and whatnot, doing their thing. Yeah. I follow y'all on Instagram. Okay. Huntland, Texas. Yeah. Harlem, my niggas. Gary, Indiana. Okay. Michigan. Yeah. South America. Get your tan on. Conyers, Georgia. Thomasville, Georgia. I used to live right near Thomasville. You know what that is in Atlanta? It was a projects off the chain. They tore it down. Tucson, Mississippi. 704. Right? Yeah, just Google Gates of Hell in Philadelphia. Google Gates of Hell. They got an actual monument called the Gates of Hell. You know what I'm talking about? And when we see things like Philadelphia being number 2 murder capital in America, we should understand, that there's still energy in these places that are still emanating from the rituals that they've been doing, consistently in these places of power. 478 Mactown, Minnesota. All right, what's happening? Hub City, Compton, what's goody? Fort Wayne, Indiana. What it do? Strong Island. Can I get a woo? Woo. And I ain't talking about the woo skis. You know what I'm talking about? I mean the Wu Tang. Shout out to the Wu. Shout out to Shaolin. 757 Norfolk. I see you. Minneapolis. I feel you. Gardena. Yeah. 716 South Philly, Seattle, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky. Yeah, they turned up in Kentucky. What's up? Little Rock, Las Vegas, Sacramento, Cleveland. That's right. Dave, 83 from the Shy. Yeah, I'm coming to the Shy in October. I'm going to be in Chicago with the Moors. Okay? Put that on your calendar. We're going to be in Chicago and Chi-Town in the Windy City in October. They call it Woptober, but I call it October. Right? Yeah, talk black to me. We're going to be with the Moors. I'm going to be fezzed up. Right? And I'm going to be with my brothers in the temple, that is. Yeah, putting in that work. You know what I'm talking about? And I look forward to seeing my Chicago family when you're out there. You know, I will have the flyers and I will have, the information for the Chicago family. I've been getting requests to come to Chicago for many, many years now. I remember the AA and Blue Pill had went out there and I wasn't able to go. And that was like 2011. It was a while ago, bro. No. So this will be our first time in Chicago as the Twin Pillars. I don't think we went out there together. So this would be our first time in the Shy doing the Twin Pillar red and blue thing. So I look forward to that. Look forward to that, and I'll keep y'all updated. Yeah, you said that mic is crispy and clear. I might just record an album on this tonight. I don't know. I'm feeling myself. Like, I like the feedback. We're gonna have to bring back the what they call More Fire Fridays. If anybody is an alumni from Know the Ledge Radio, when we was on Blog Talk, right? We had More Fire, like the Jamaicans say, More Fire. We had More Fire Fridays. And on More Fire Fridays, we would do music. You know what I'm talking about? We would do some of the music, right? And we would break artists, right? And we would do a little bit of freestyles, right? We would do some freestyles and we would let people get on here and let their nuts hang. You know what I mean? Do the damn thing, right? And I'll be honest with you. I remember this was like '09. No, this was 2010. I remember the first time we did it. This was like our third episode or our fourth episode. And you know how artists are. I'm on my Erica Badu shit. I'm an artist, so I'm sensitive about my art. So my hands were shaking. I was wild nervous. I had the butterflies and whatnot because as an artist, you know, I'm not out here. I'm doing my red pill. I wasn't really into the music. Like, when you do music, but you hide that shit from everybody. Like, I wasn't out there with it on my sleeve like that, especially in the community. This was 2010. Niggas was still on a namaste. You know what I mean? You didn't know if everybody was hip. You know what I mean? We had to say some shit like code words for everybody to be like, you had to be like, Cash Money taking over for the 9-9. And niggas start, girls start twerking and niggas start throwing up the soldier rags. You like, oh shit. Everybody is hood. I didn't know that. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought we were all on some Poindexter shit. But yeah, let's go. Let's turn up. So I did the freestyle. I was spitting some bars and whatnot. And honestly, it was shows like that. And it was also me, Blue Pill, and my good brother, King Uraeus, and my good brother, the Ghetto Shaman, right? when he lived in New York. He had lived in New York before he moved to the A. He used to go to the obelisk, which is called Cleopatra's Needle, right there in Central Park. And we would go on new moons and on full moons, right? And we would perform our poetry because, contrary to popular belief, people don't understand the power of an obelisk, or what they call a tekenu. This made out of limestone and it's shaped like a phallus. You know what I'm talking about? Well, we were tapping in to that phallus shaped limestone microphone, right? Because look, it's like a microphone and it's pointing into the heavens. You know what I'm saying? Like the obelisk stands straight up, and the heavens is like the your universe. You know what I mean? You know, the heavens gates, the universe. It's the universe. It's the stars and everything. So we would be in front of the obelisk, spitting our rhymes and whatnot, and that built up confidence. You know, you need confidence in order to create. Sometimes, you know, you don't want to be in the booth all goofy and scary and whatnot. It's not gonna come out the way that you want it to come out. So this show, doing the radio show, doing the freestyles and everything, and then going in Central Park and performing in front of what I felt like was the world. I felt like I was performing in front of the cosmos because the stars was coming out. I'm talking about planets was out. And we're gonna bring that back. You know what I mean? I think we're gonna bring that back. I want to hear the new talent. You know what I'm saying? There was so many musicians who discovered their voice on the More Fire Fridays. I remember when A.A. Rashid came through with Batman Mafia and completely shut that shit down. Niggas didn't even know he rhymed like that. We didn't know that A.A. had bars like that. You know what I'm talking about? And he came one More Fire Friday and he debuted Batman Mafia single. Oh my goodness. It was over. And it's been going strong with the brother ever since. You know what I mean? He's been doing what he does and putting up classics since that date. So I'm saying all of that to say that for y'all that is out there, get your bars up. You know what I'm talking about? Get your bars up. You know what I mean? I don't want to drop the bomb on you niggas before you finish your 16. I want to drop it when you finish your 16. I want to drop the air horn on you. Like DJ Khaled be hitting the air horn. Like we in a goddamn dance hall or something. So look out for that. That'll be coming very soon. You know, get your 16 together. You know what I mean? Don't be nervous. Like I said, you know, we've all gone through it. But once you make it through the threshold, there's no turning back. You know, there's no turning back. You're gonna be officially in the building. You know what I mean? You're gonna be on that stage, my naga. You know what I mean? You're gonna be on that stage. So, with that being said, first and foremost, how is everyone's Monday developing for them so far? I'm hoping and I'm affirming that we've all had a great day. You know what I mean? You know, coming off of a dope weekend and whatnot, and we're starting this week on a positive note. Um, and we're starting this week, you know, on a high vibration. You know what I mean? On a very high vibration. You know, August is coming to a close. I don't know where the hell this month went. I'm still looking for it. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, you know, one thing that is constant is change. So the days are definitely changing on us. Like I said, it doesn't feel like days anymore. It's just hours and whatnot. It's just 24 hours. I don't even know what day is. Yeah, shout out to Kobe, 824. Right? Today is Big Mamba Day. Today is the Kobe Day. Kobe energy all day. Black Mamba all day. You know what I'm talking about? You know, Black Mamba all day. Yeah, I like Tobe and Fat. That's my peoples right now. That song was dope. Yes, that song Eat is dope. Tobe and Fat. You know what I mean? I'm very happy for them. Shout out to all of my Texas family. I heard they got 2 hurricanes coming your way. God darn it. What's that about? You know? My daughter out there. What the hell is that about? You know? What do I think about Commissioner Gordon being a brother? Yeah, you saw that? You saw the trailer for the Batman with Commissioner Gordon? Batman looking mad doofy though. Who the hell who's the Batman? Who is the Batman? Yes, KTL Saturday. We had KTL on Saturday with Red and Blue, and then yesterday we had Stream Chaser Sunday. Right, I had a special guest who didn't show up, but we'll have him on this week. And then we got Melanin Monday right now. So Mondem going hard. Mondem is going hard. Uh yeah, it's for Thursday show. Then we had Saturday, Sunday, and then today. Yeah, I'm a hard working man. You know what I'm talking about? I'm out here working, you know. So it's all good though. If you didn't catch yesterday's show, go ahead and tap in. That show is gonna be about that show is about bread. That show is about that bag, the streams. You know, that show is about solutions. It's dealing with solutions, it's dealing with options. Uh for everyone who have not signed up to Stream Chasers, here's your chance right now to sign up to it. All we need is your email. We keeping it very simple for the moment. Drop your email, go over to the page, sign up, drop your email, and we're gonna be doing a live stream. I think this week we're gonna be rolling out 3 of the streams that we'll have in the play. That's the new Forex program. That's the Susu flower, right? Because we got a Susu flower that we're pushing out. We have an MLM Forex school / program where you can get money on an MLM and you can learn Forex at the same time. And then we got another stream that shall remain a secret until we release it. So look out for the emails. Sometimes when we send out the email blast, you might have to go in your folder and whatnot. So one day when you just don't have too much to do, just put Stream Chasers in your search bar in your Gmail or your Yahoo, whatever your search engine is in your thing. Put this in, and it might be in your bulk folder. You know, it might be, they might stash that shit somewhere. You never know. So people are talking about the 750 million genetically engineered mosquitoes, and the shit got a commercial with it too, right? Your boy got a commercial with it too. Bill Gates has a commercial to coincide with the mosquitoes that they're releasing in Florida, right? This thing is the commercial is crazy. They got mosquitoes looking like the Grim Reaper. I mean, this nigga he been playing the Xbox for too long. Either that or I don't know. He's just on his and his Dr. Evil swag. So he's out here trolling niggas, you know what I mean, with a mosquito commercial. Talking about the mosquitoes are the biggest killers in the world. Now, when you put out GMO mosquitoes and you using the tagline that the mosquitoes are the #1 killers in the world, my man, you setting up you doing what the fuck is this? What is this exercise? What is this with Event 201 Part 2, bro? Because the babies don't know about mosquitoes killing people. Niggas in the hood is not scared of mosquitoes until now. Until they seen that commercial on during their Xbox. What are you doing? We're not in Africa. Niggas don't got malaria in the hood. I just got stung up with some mosquitoes yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Are you telling me that I could die? So, as you know, this year, 2020, is officially the year of fear. It is the year of fear. I saw a picture where there was 8 tornadoes in the water. They got fire tornadoes. There's earthquakes. They said that they got off-world vehicles in the stash in somebody's fucking warehouse somewhere, the Pentagon. There's 750 GMO mosquitoes, and we don't know who they finna take their blood, who they gonna land on. How you gonna run from a mosquito though? You know what I'm saying? I can understand the COVID and whatnot. You're not gonna run from a mosquito. You know what I'm talking about? You're not getting away from a mosquito, fam. I'm sorry. It's over. Then you got wildfires. Now, Brother Bluepill put up a post about the wildfires. Apparently, the wildfires are killing or destroying or burning up very ancient redwood trees, very ancient trees that are attached to Mama Earth. They are threatening the paradise that is Humboldt County, right? And things like that. I think maybe even Shasta might be threatened. If anybody is familiar with that, let me know and inform us in the chat room, right? I did not see the Lovecraft on HBO. You know, I have not caught up on TV as of yet, right? I do have an offer for people who are into TV who want 500 channels. You know, you got to sign up to Stream Chasers. Gonna have to sign up to stream. These are things that you can't talk about on YouTube. But if there's people that want to tap into the TV world or all of these channels and whatnot, yeah, you need to find out what we're offering and whatnot and get back to us. You said the mosquitoes are wild aggressive in Memphis. I was in the Bronx yesterday and them things went at me. I was in Florida 2 weeks ago. Bruh. I came back, my arm looked like a pickle. You know what I'm talking about? The mosquitoes was going ham on me on the beach. Super ham. Super duper ham. I don't know why. I'm like, what's going on with my blood? Did y'all need some of this? And to be honest with you, right? I don't know if those was the Bill Gates mosquitoes, because he did say he was releasing them things in Florida. So we're gonna have to go and do some further. I'm gonna have to get KT the arts degree to get on his scientific shit and find out if the boy got stung with a GMO mosquito. Cause goddamn it. But the good thing was this. I was around dragonflies in Florida. I'm talking about there was an army of dragonflies all around us, right? So I was told that the dragonflies eat the mosquitoes. So knowing that, I was just like, shit, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't got nothing to worry about. They not even gonna catch me. When I got back to the hotel, nigga, they caught me. You know? The Asian mosquitoes that are invasive, fam, they got those in Philadelphia. I was in Philadelphia. Some shit landed on me. I thought it was a ladybug. But then I was like, is this a butterfly? And the shit opened up its wings. It was all red. But then when it closed its wings, it was like it was brown or something. I'm like, fam, what's this? And then Sabir was like, yo, those are the mosquitoes that came from Japan or something or from China. They genetically engineered and they all over the hood. I'm like, bruh, what the hell is going on with this year? You know? A wormwood is scientifically proven cure to malaria. Man, wormwood be having my face scrunched up when I take it. That's a super bitter. You know? It's smoky in California. Yeah, I seen them fires. Them fires is lit. Them fires is very lit. You know? You said they're making fake male mosquitoes to mate with real female mosquitoes. So they got GMO mosquitoes. They got Dr. Miami mosquitoes out here with fake. They got fake phalluses. That's what they're doing with science these days. You know what I'm talking about? The ladies is getting butt lifts and they out here making fake mosquitoes to run around tagging the women and whatnot. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Somebody said the killing of animals with these wildfires. Yeah, my nigga, the killing of animals in the slaughterhouses. So you niggas can eat hamburgers too. Let's not get the fake outrage because they're burning up. To be honest with you, if you talk to the right Negro, he would be like, that's some good barbecue in the fucking forest fires. And go up in there and get him some goddamn barbecue deer. Somebody said nano booty. I mean, God damn it, what is science not gonna create? You know what I'm saying? Like, these niggas got nano, it's mosquitoes with nano wood. Like, this shit is crazy. You know? They having a pasa pasa nano, a GMO pasa pasa mosquito. He just going to send them out so they can hump on the ladies. You know what I mean? Shit crazy. Well, if you're in the areas where the mosquitoes have been released, somebody said nano thoughts. Yo, these niggas got nano bucks. What the fuck? These niggas got like nano bucks and they're breeding bucks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna catch up to Lovecraft, and I'm also going to catch up to what's the other one that I was supposed to see? It was Lovecraft, and it was something else. I'm gonna check that out. I just need time. Like I don't have the time to even sit down. Oh yeah, the Jamie Foxx one on Netflix. What about the pills? I don't be having time, yo. I can't find the time to sit down for 2 hours. I got so many things that I'm doing, you know. But I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna find a time. I might have to watch that shit on a plane when I'm flying somewhere, but nonetheless, we're gonna tap in and we'll break it down. I'm a binge watcher, so I might let this shit drag for about 3 episodes, then I binge all 3, right? And then I really enjoy it. But remember when American Gods was out, and remember when the Watchmen series was out. And from the minute I saw that, I was like, man, y'all need to go see that. I don't care what you're doing, drop what you're doing and go check it out. You know what I'm saying? Go check it out. Uh these series are going to be lit. And lo and behold, I knew what I was talking about because the Watchmen series, to be honest with you, in the world of predictive programming and neurocinematics, I would say that the Watchmen series that came on HBO set the whole tone for 2020. If 2020 was a TV series, my nigga, it was the Watchmen. They had everything in it. They had everything in it. The first episode, the first 5 minutes of the first episode set it off. They did Black Wall Street reenactment of the massacre. Then they introduced you, right, to a white supremacist who killed the black cop, right? The 7th Cavalry. They showed you a clandestine white supremacist group that was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that was out there killing the popo and whatnot. Then they showed you the fact that the KKK had infiltrated the police force. Then they showed you everybody was wearing a mask. Everybody had to, not everybody, but all of the police in episode 1 was wearing a mask to cover up their identity. The whole series is about wearing a mask. They even at the last episode, Lou Gossett, pause. he says something. He basically closed it out with one of those monologues. You know, he says something about wearing a mask. You know what I mean? And the fact that the superhero is wearing a mask. Whoever remembers what he said verbatim, you could put it in the chat and I'll say it. But the whole series, right? And then that's just episode 1. That was just episode 1. It was about 9 or 10 episodes, and they covered so many things in the social that are going on socially in America. And to be honest with you, these things were not necessarily going on when the series was going on. So that's why I say that when millions upon millions upon millions of people watch something at the same time, they are drawn into these quote unquote broadcasts, these series or these shows. They have a lot to do with what we call predictive programming. Okay. Predictive programming is very real, especially nowadays with the internet, where people are doing millions upon millions in numbers and whatnot. That means millions of people are watching it at the same time. That has to have some type of imprint on modern day or reality and whatnot, where we can't tell if art is imitating life or if life is imitating art. The lines are blurred at the end of the day, right? The lines are blurred. Blurred, I mean. Oh, the Watchmen is up for 25 Emmy, 26, right? Like I said, you know, I could see why, because the writing on that show was superb. The writing on that show was superb. Yeah, I keep hearing about Lovecraft is dropping the gems. Okay, we're gonna tap in. You know what I mean? We're gonna tap in for sure. You know, we should have a watch party. Yeah. So I could tell. Yeah, I'm sure. And remember to show you about predictive programming. What was the whole last season of Game of Thrones about? What was the whole last season of Game of Thrones? But what did the writers write the story around? They wrote the story around the two main figures, which was Jon Snow, right? And what came to be his sister, the Dragon Queen, who he bedded, right? So he committed incest. But what was the theme that they were dealing with through the whole season? It was bending the knee. It was bending the knee, right? It was all about taking the knee. Okay? And they showed you in Game of Thrones, Jon Snow, he was resisting bending the knee or taking the knee, because what would that indicate? Anybody that took the knee was submitting. Oh yeah, she's his aunt. She's his aunt. Yeah, he hit that up. You know what I'm talking about? She, yeah, it wasn't that much of his aunt. But taking the knee or bending the knee was submitting. So when Jon Snow took the knee to the Mad Queen, he basically, his peoples turned on him. He lost the faith of his people. He was a clown to men in power. They was like, yo, what's going on with your mans in them? You know what I'm talking? He out here taking a knee. Like, we don't do that. So while that was going on Sundays, because that came out on Sundays, during the daytime, these groveling ass Negroes with tight ass pants on, you know what I'm talking about? These bucks was out there taking knees and shit. And where did that get us? Where did that get us? Who from the NFL has a powerful voice as a result of all of that knee taking? And don't say Kaepernick, because that nigga's out here doing sneaker deals and commercials and working on his afro so he could get some Nipsey braids. I don't want to hear about what kind of, because that's not power, bro. The man don't got power. He has status amongst woke people to be a woke hero. But what is he doing? And what are these niggas in the NBA? What are all of these millionaires in the NBA that used to take us on tours on MTV Cribs and whatnot? What the fuck? What are they doing? With all of that knee taking that they've been doing, what are they doing? Now, when you look at the NBA, that shit like a horrible Black Lives Matter commercial. I can't even watch the playoffs. This shit is disgusting. You got white boys. I'm talking about finishing niggas while they dribbling. Where they got on jerseys talking about equality and injustice, and the nigga Luka is out here drilling these niggas. I'm not feeling it. All of that fake ass negative affirmations about you can't breathe and please don't hurt me type shit. Nigga, while these niggas is in the locker room listening to 21 Savage and shit, I don't want to hear that. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas is retardedly backwards. The white supremacists are gearing up to fight the NFAC. The white supremacist is having a goddamn field day on this nigga Grandmaster Flash or whatever his name is about the fact that he don't know about the weapons that he's talking about. I had to go and do some research on homeboy because he said my name. And, you know, we're going to bring him up and other people this Sunday in Atlanta when we do the lecture called Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah, the Judas in the Blackamoor Messiah. We're going to have to talk about this man right here because I don't know what the fuck is going on with the brother, but rumor has it, not rumor, one of his own members brought up the fact that this man tried to slander my name. I don't even know, homie. So I had to go and do my research. Like, let me go and I to be honest with you, I spoke favorably about this man before. Feel me? I spoke favorably about this man when Brother Rich asked me, hey, what do you think about NFAC? Now, let's be clear. One organization or the leader of an organization don't define the organization. So when it comes to the different factions of armed men and women, I don't know these people, but I like what I see. Right? I like what I saw. So I don't have no. And then when the brother Rich asked me how I feel about the brother, more power to the bro. More power to the bro. Because at the end of the day, somebody got to do it. Right? Somebody got to step out there and represent for that Second Amendment. You know what I mean? Somebody got to represent for that Second Amendment. But if you put my name in your mouth, you know what I'm talking about? And you don't know what you're talking about, and you're trying to slander, and you're on some Judas energy, oh man, you're just gonna help my lecture boom a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna have to get up there and dance on you. So on Sunday in Atlanta, we're gonna be talking about that amongst other things. The Judas and the Blackamoor Messiah. Be there. It will be live streamed. And it will be live. You know what I mean? You could get tickets at the door if you in the A. Pull up. You know what I'm saying? Pull up. We brought Cambada and Sister Amina on the show on Saturday. And we spoke about our performance, which is going to be on September 11th, right? We're going to be doing something called the Mystic Fair, right? The Mystic Fair. And on Friday, 9/11, me, Brother Cambada, Sister Amina, and other special guests, we're going to be performing in the West End. We're going to be doing our 1-2 Thugizzle, right? We will not be performing on Saturday the 29th. We will be performing on 9/11 to commemorate the 19th year of 9/11, to commemorate the Ethiopian New Year, and to commemorate the Mystic Fair. It's going to be real lit in the A. So we're going to go ahead and turn up. And I look forward to the family being there. But if you're in Atlanta, or if you're part of this audience on the YouTube, or if you're part of any one of the KTL University, the Stream Chasers, anybody who is signed up and aligned with us, you are going to be receiving an email for the live stream. Okay. And that's going to be on Sunday from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. in Atlanta, August 30th. Fear of a Black or More Messiah for Black August. Yeah, fuck with your peoples. Okay. And you know, if you've been to any of our lectures, you already know what it is. Information overload. You're going to be informed, you're going to be entertained, and you're going to be educated. All right. So I look forward to seeing y'all. I definitely look forward to seeing y'all. Yeah, so that's what it is. And if you haven't seen the episode that I'm speaking of with Cambada, go into the archives. I believe it was on Saturday and we broadcasted it. Okay. Somebody said that did you see the lecture where he mentioned your name? No, I did not. You know, what I did see is an interview with a defector of the group, and that brother was on Moorish World TV. So then again, that's what I'm saying. You know, I'm not even giving it too much energy, because sometimes you got to hear things from the horse's mouth. I'm out here doing my research to find out what it is that we need to be addressing, because at the end of the day, if somebody who is in charge of a group of people who are armed speaks unfavorably or slanders or puts libel on a person's name, then that's the Judas factor. That means that you're a Judas and you're going against the messiahs amongst us to do what? To cause harm. There's no other reason. There would be no other reason but to cause harm or to cause confusion and things of that. So we're going to have to talk about it, man. And if that's the case, I need an apology. Straight like that. Like, we're not playing those games. We're not doing that. You know? We're not doing that. So we're going to have these conversations. We got to flesh out what's going on in this community where niggas have run rampant and things are going crazy out here in these streets. You know what I'm talking about? And there's all kind of side doors, back doors, and windows, and all kind of attic doors opened up, and people are just sneaking in and doing whatever they want to do. So, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Judas and Brutus. Judas and Brutus, you know. The pig shot the brother in front of his children. Yeah, I saw that. You know. What do we do about that? Because they out there turning up in Wisconsin, right? They out there turning up in Wisconsin. I saw a police get knocked out. He got hit in the head with a brick. The brothers and sisters ran down on an armed, the police came in there on some military shit. You had people with AR-15s pulling up on the truck like, what's popping? They're upset. They're ticked off once again. You know what I mean? In the climate with all of this fake ass DNC, GOP, and all of this bird ass election cycle shit that's going on and whatnot. So yeah, the people is confused. And to be honest with you, right? To be honest with you, you know, they're gonna do what they've been doing. They need this kind of confusion to stir up the emotions of a people who are not necessarily emotionally invested in their theater or in their quote unquote lies or in their quote unquote distractions. That's what they need our energy for, to power up the presidential campaign, to power up Kamala or what the fuck, whatever her name is, to power up whole Biden. You know what I'm talking about? That's what they need. They need our people to be triggered. But what we need is we need a better response for what we see as an all-out assault on our people. You know what I'm talking about? Now, let's say that we had militias that were on code, right? On code, meaning that they popping up where they need to be at all times. Because I'm following a few militias on the gram. Sleep is for the rich. You know what I mean? Shout out to that brother. He's in Shreveport, but he's in Shreveport. I haven't seen him move from his location since he got his location. He's on Instagram being an Instagram model. And then there's other groups that, I mean, if you're a militia, you should take no fucking pictures on Instagram. How about that? If you're a militia, you shouldn't be focusing on Instagram. You should be in these streets. You should be in the places where the murders are spilling over the quote unquote countertop, like Chicago, like Philly, like Memphis, you know what I mean? Like hoods in Atlanta. That's where we should be. We should put you on the Instagram. You shouldn't be having no selfies, my friend. So we need brothers to be hopping off of planes the same way that I could fly around America and put my health at risk to do what? To put on and to answer the call for brothers and sisters that be like, real Red, I need you out here to teach. Yo, Red, I know that we got the COVID. I know that if you go on an airplane, they're going to be screening you. I know that they're going to follow. I'm getting tracked. My goddamn iPhone is tracking me everywhere I go. I know that, you could, this shit is airborne. Even though we don't give it no energy, you still walking into danger. So if I could get on the airplane and go all around the goddamn America and still do lectures and still do workshops and still teach people and whatnot, what the fuck? What's stopping black men who got their Second Amendment rights and who have clicked up in the crew? You got a group of men that's willing to ride. While we need to be in some of these places, not to say that we could stop certain things, but we need these militias on the ground, not trying to go up against the boogie boys or not being a reactionary type of unit. We need them more proactive to spread out in these troubled areas where black people live, and they need their help. They need their presence. I'm talking about the mamas. I'm talking about the grandmamas. I'm talking about these little kids who are basically under siege. And it's not only by the police that they under siege by. They under siege by these knuckle draggers. They under siege by these quote unquote, they are under siege by the niggas in their neighborhoods who they have allowed to run rampant. Don't mention nobody from the conscious community as a militia to run no fucking militia. Please don't do that. Don't play yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's not what they're here to do. Okay? It's not what they're here to do, because if they were here to do that, they would have been done it. So that miss me with that. That is you know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, that's a pipe dream. That's a pipe dream. That's why when I saw somebody from outside the community stand up on some malicious shit, I was like, well, maybe that might be what it is, what's needed. But come to find out, it can't be from somebody that's outside the community, because they always gonna hate on the community. They always gonna act fugazi and funny to people in the community, like they trying to stand. You can't stand next to us. You can't stand with us. Do your role, play your position, but don't act like you gonna be you can't contribute to what we contribute, bruh. You can't do that. So we need to have a conversation with some elders, with some people who are respected, with some people who could be trusted, about how we are going to move as a collective in the near future, because our safety is still being threatened. We are under war. and niggas have dropped the ball. They still doing YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? If my role was to be running a militia, you will see me running it. So I'm not talking about doing photo ops. I'm talking about spreading out these organizations to be mad active, proactive, right? And stop what is known as this red summer. I'm talking about they in New York. I read an article. They said that the majority of shootings in New York is from niggas in Brooklyn. And it's not in Brooklyn. They're going all boroughs shooting niggas. And I told you this before. I said before that when Pop Smoke had got killed, I was like, yo, based off of what Hot 97 and Power 105 is doing, right? This shit is gonna spread. Pop Smoke being killed at a young age, right? In an unfortunate situation. That was unfortunate, right? Pop Smoke had messianic energy. Pop Smoke was from a family and a bloodline that he wasn't, one of these children that got thrown away. He didn't come from nothing. Came from something. So he had the potential. We're talking about potentiality. Don't talk to me about what a 20-year-old wasn't doing. I would tell you, show me your rap sheet. Let me see what was you doing at 20? You know what I'm saying? You can't talk sense really to if there's 20-year-olds out there and they're focused and they're out there trying to help their people. They some special ass 20-year-olds. Right? They some special ass 20-year-olds because that's not what 20-year-olds is about. They about sowing their oats. They want to bust as many nuts as possible. They want to get as much money as possible. The shorties, they want to twerk. They want to play with that WAP. You know what I mean? They want that guap. They are chasing street dreams. A lot of them, even when they in college, my niggas, they still on some. They still doing what they do. They trapping out the dorm. They trying to be like the Migos. You know what I mean? They just trying to lay up with something. That's 20. What the fuck? Like, niggas is looking for Malcolm X at 20. No. He was Detroit Red at that. Pop Smoke was Detroit Red at 20. What if Nipsey got killed at 20 before he became Nipsey the Great, right? And he made his transition at 33. What would we have expected from that man at 20 years old? What was he going to give us? You don't have no experience at 20. You have not seen the world. You don't know right from wrong in certain situations. You didn't even bump your head like that. So when Pop Smoke died, I was like, fam, this is only the beginning. Because one of the things about, one of the downsides of killing somebody before they blossom is that you're only going to get the energy in which they died with. So before he made transition, that nigga was a driller. You know what I'm talking about? And he was embroiled in a gang war. And he was on record calling out his ops. He did a diss record. He did a song, and he was talking about he's smoking on Kiki. That was the young man who smacked him years before. So he already was putting out energy, whereas if they kill the man, that energy is not going to dissipate. He has a lot of people who are going to pick up guns, and they're going to basically keep the energy going, right? So the article said that the majority of shootings are coming out of Brooklyn. Those are the drillers. That's Brooklyn Drill. Brooklyn Drill was pushed by the radio stations, right? After Tekashi 6ix9ine snitched on the quote-unquote Bloods. So you would think in New York City, right, that the radio stations would be responsible to say, you know what? Even though this song is kind of hot on the underground, because Big Drip, right, Funkmaster Flex and Hot 97, they pushed that song to become big on a regional level, and then on a national level, and then on a global level. It did not get, it was hot in the streets like that, but nobody even knew how to pronounce that nigga's name, bro. We didn't know what the fuck is a Fabio who? Somebody said Hot 97. Yeah, nigga, the home of hip hop. Fuck is you talking about? Hot 97, the home of hip hop, where all of this shit started. That part, them. I don't know what radio station you got wherever you at, but Hot 97 in New York City, that's where they put that. That's the home of hip hop. Okay, that's the home of hip hop. Before they syndicated this shit and Clear Channel took over and it did what it did and it's where it is, nigga, it was Hot 97, Funk Master Flex, Angie Martinez, and fucking Patty Duke. Okay? And Patty Duke, right? One of Yusef Hawkins' killers was a radio personality, a program director at Hot 90 fucking 7, bro, for 30 years. Yeah, Hot 97 used to be a Guido station. They used to play what's the version of house music or dance music for Puerto Ricans? They used to play that shit. Somebody said what happened to New York hip hop? Hot 97. Hot 97 is what happened to hip hop. These people were in bed with Def Jam. Oh, techno. Yeah, techno. They was playing Lisa, my nigga. They was on Lisa and the Cult Jam type of vibes. You know what I'm talking about? They was playing that, not before reggaeton, right? Before reggaeton, Puerto Ricans was listening to some bullshit. I don't even know what it's called. Before reggaeton, Puerto Ricans was listening to some real corny shit before they start trying to act like they some niggas, right? When they was on a Lisa and a Cult Jam type of frequency, right? Oh, freestyle is what they call it. Freestyle, is that what it was called? And house, right? Garbage. And then they picked up on the frequency. Okay? They picked up because Kiss FM was doing hip hop with Magic, with Red Alert. Remember, you did not get hip hop during the daytime. You did not get hip hop during what is known as commercial time or prime time. You got hip hop on a 5 o'clock mix, and you got hip hop after 10 p.m. and we had to tape it on our tape deck and play it the next day in school and all of these other places. Before they had clue tapes, we had to tape the hip hop. We had to sneak in our households because damn near everybody's parents was adamantly against hip hop. They was throwing hip hop in the trash. Niggas' moms and dads did not like hip hop. So it was almost like a rebel music. Right? There's people that don't know this. They were born into this and they like, what is red pill? That nigga gotta be old. No, fam. I'm not that old. I'm talking about 1990, 1991, 1992, around 1993. That's when hip hop started to become, when Puff Daddy and the Bad Boy era made that shit commercial with the shiny suits and everything, with Mason Betta, when niggas' moms was like, oh, he cute and whatnot. When not really even with Biggie, like when Biggie died and when Tupac died, that brought in an attention and that brought an acceptance to hip hop that previously was not there before. Niggas was banging on that shit. I mean, if you left it up to your parents, there would be no hip hop. So 98.7 Kiss FM was our hip hop channel, right? Then Hot 97 all of a sudden switched from playing techno music and Guido music, basically Jersey Shore fist pumping music, right? Yeah, BLS was on it. BLS had the BLS had what was BLS? Wasn't that the Mr. Magic? If I'm correct, and Red Alert, Mr. Magic, that might been Hot 97 if I'm correct. But no, that was Kiss FM. That was Kiss FM, right? So the Bad Boy era, yeah, the Rap Attack with Mr. Magic. Thank you. You would hear the Rap Attack, and that's where they was breaking artists. That's the first time I heard Cool G rap. That's when I was hearing Slick Rick. This is the artist that I'm speaking of when you know, Queensbridge, yeah. They wasn't even playing Nas like that, fam. They was playing MC Shan and these niggas. They wasn't even playing Nas like that. The person who broke hip hop in New York City is Ralph McDaniels, right? Video Music Box. Let's be clear. All of my New Yorkers that are in the building, so my out of towners don't think that Red Pill don't know what he's speaking of. If with a fire emoji, if Ralph McDaniels was the hottest thing for real hip hop in New York City before the radio, please put a fire emoji in this bitch so we could understand what's going on. He's the father of New York City hip hop. Video Music Box. And then they went and took Video Music Box and they did some bootleg ass channel called The Box. I'm not talking about The Box. I'm talking about Video Music Box, the shit that you could only watch on channel 31, and you could turn the channel with a wrench. You had to have aluminum foil on a goddamn antenna because it was the only channel on an AM dial or the whatever the fuck that dial was. Niggas didn't have cable. Ralph McDaniels, fam. Okay? Ralph McDaniels. He was the one that was breaking artists. He was the one that they should give $1 billion to. Yeah, on the UHF channel. He was the one. It's him. Because remember, hip hop is visual. We was not just listening to niggas rapping, bro. We had to see you. We needed to know what you was wearing. There was no 106 in Park. There wasn't no BT. It wasn't even what is known as what's that shit from MTV? Yo MTV Raps. Yo MTV Raps? Dr. Dre? You're not even the real Dr. Dre family. What are you talking? Dr. Dre? And what's the other nigga? Ed Lover? No, they came in. That's like woke. They like the woke niggas, and Ralph McDaniels would be conscious. Ralph McDaniels was in the trenches. Ralph McDaniels was breaking artists. Ralph McDaniels was not for sale. Fat Five Freddy is a Chi-Chi man. No. Fat Five Freddy sold the culture out. He is a pillow biting, Chi-Chi ankle grabbing. He's one of those, because remember, everybody that went downtown that was gay, and they sold hip hop out. Let's be clear. All of them people, Basquiat was Andy Warhol's F buddy. That was his bussy boy. You know what I'm talking about? That was his bussy boy. Fab Five Freddy had Blondie in the hood doing the fucking song Rapture. Niggas was not jacking Rapture. What the fuck? Who the fuck is Blondie? You know how confused I was for years? Like, what the fuck? What's that? Like, who is? I didn't know what I was watching. I was a young youth, and here it is. She's looking like she's like a soccer mom. She's like a Karen doing rap. I was like, what the fuck is going on? That confused me. The Beastie Boys, that confused me. When I saw pictures of Rick Rubin, that confused me. Yeah, step into the world. Nah. Fab Five, come on. Go and pull up a Fab Five Freddy interview and just look at the machinations. Look at his algorithms, my niggas, please. He was out there playing, on Hershey's highways with a lot of those other brothers who were dressing wild weird, wearing a lot of tight shit in Studio 54, playing with that white girl. Both of them, Christine Aguilera and Britney Spears, they had white girls up their nose and white girls on their arms, and they was selling out the culture. The biggest sellout was Hustle Simmons. He was out there doing yoga on white men's face. Yeah, that guy. The one who's on the run from Me Too because he's a sexual degenerate. Yeah, him. That guy. Right? So Ralph McDaniels is the truth. And I don't know his sexuality. You know what I'm saying? But from what it appeared to me, he was a stand-up dude. You know? Yeah, he's on I can't watch him right now, but Shira. Yeah, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Pac was turning Madonna out. No, my nigga, Madonna was turning Pac out. You know what I'm talking about? Madonna was turning Pac out. It's who's the freakiest when the shit goes down, right? How could somebody ladies, if you more freakier than the man that you're betting, can he turn you out, or you're gonna go ahead and pull some fucking rabbits out of your hat and turn him out? How does that work? So nobody can tell me that Tupac was turning out Madonna. No, she turned Tupac and Big Daddy Kane and a few other niggas out, and they never been the same after that. Tupac wasn't the same after Madonna. Matter of fact, she got graveyard box because his life started to spiral out of control after he tapped that. After Big Daddy Kane laid up with her, there was no more Big Daddy Kane. Niggas didn't want to hear word. He couldn't even rhyme the same no more. Like I said, you gotta be easy, bro. You gotta. These young rappers that's out here laying up with these Beckys, getting a soul snatch, they can't put out no more good product. You know what I'm talking about? Look at these niggas is weirded out. They got colored hair. Look at all of these fake rap niggas, the mumble rappers who try to be them niggas is like rock stars. They not wearing no undershirts. They got the little chains and whatnot. Niggas got blonde locks, blonde dreads. Where do you think that comes from? Oh yeah, Dennis Rodman and Madonna. Talk black to me. Nigga, she's a spirit cooker. She's a spirit cooker. Ooh, Corinne, you brought it back with hot tracks. All right. Now I have to reiterate what the fuck I was saying. I was up here talking big boy shit. She just humbled me. Okay? She just humbled me. Because before Ralph McDaniels, my niggas, it was hot tracks and gangsters, Mondem, Gunman, Gundalero. Niggas was watching Boy George, Cyndi Lauper, motherfucking what was it? INX. Nigga, we was mad weird when we were young. Don't let no black don't let no nigga born in the 70s act like he was tough the whole way through. He wasn't. He was talking about girls just want to have fun. Niggas was on they shit. You know what I'm saying? We was mad bilingual. We knew David Bowie, Duran Duran. There you go. What was the other groups? Nigga, they was feeding us all of the WATCHMAN from Wham. Nigga, they's feeding us all of the Chichi Man them from Europe, from over across the pond, my nigga. We was eating it up. Nigga, Run DMC low key kind of saved us. We was eating that white shit up, bro. And then Michael came, and then Prince came with the fucking ruffles and whatnot. You mean to tell me niggas' closets wasn't confused? Because niggas wasn't dressing like that. You would get a fast beat down in the hood because, you know, they had standards where I was from. But don't tell me, I refuse to admit, I refuse to believe that niggas wasn't looking at their mama's shirt with the ruffles on it when she was at work talking about, man, I wish I could do my Prince, I could do my best Prince rendition. You know what I'm talking about? That put a lot of niggas in high heels, if you ask me. You know what I mean? They just came out recently, but I feel like a lot of niggas slid on them stilettos, you know what I'm saying, based off of them Prince videos. Real talk. Based off of them Prince videos, nigga, that they was on Impressionable Minds. Bruce Springsteen. I was born in the USA. Niggas had dirty Levi's on with the fucking American flag folded up in the back pocket. And we was on Bruce Springsteen, the Police. We was on we was rocking with David Bowie. You know what I'm saying? Don't call us racist. We, the young hip hop fans, none of us could be racist. And look, we was doing all of that and then still had knowledge of self. Kenny Rogers. We didn't even care when what's the white man? Was it Michael? What's the white man that was with Patti LaBelle? So many times. The nigga sounded black. He was out there serenading Patty, nigga, and we didn't even have a problem with that. He was serenading Patti LaBelle, nigga. Mama Patty. And we were so ambiguous at that point. We were so, we were so gentrified. Michael McDonald, there you go. Michael McDonald sounded like a grown black man. And we didn't even have a problem with that. We was like, sing, white boys, sing. You know what I'm saying? You let some white boy sing to Rihanna these days. These niggas will have a titty fit on black Twitter. You know what I'm saying? They will have a fucking convulsion. David Bowie, he had Iman. Niggas didn't have a problem with that. Naomi Campbell, she was laying out with all kind of white men. We was like, go, sister, go. So we were very open-minded. Niggas was damn near Democratic when we were young. And then Ralph McDaniel came with that gangster shit. And nothing has been the same, nigga. Don't you know that we gravitated to gangster rap like motherfucking flies on shit because we were being conditioned to be mad moist during the 80s? Do you know we was listening to Luther thinking he was singing to women? Women's? Do you know? Huh? Look, Hot Tracks was so foul, they was giving you Luther Vandross with Freddie Jackson right after that. I'm like, damn, you getting 2 sugar tanks. And these niggas is singing ambiguous songs that you don't know who they talking to. You know what I'm talking about? You don't know who they talking to. Come to find out, they was shouting out them boys. You know what I mean? These was, shit. The Village People, right? Niggas just thought they was out there cosplaying. We didn't know. We were too young. We didn't know. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know. We didn't know that was the dress code for niggas in the village. We didn't know that the Village People was really talking about Greenwich Village. We didn't know. Niggas was innocent. So when Run DMC came out with all leather with fucking Adidas on, we was like, and then LL came out with the shirt off. We was like, hey, that's what I'm talking about. And then they rolled out Slick Rick with the fucking chains on. It was over after that. And then they gave us Eric B and Rakim. These niggas was gangsters. They was gangsters. They was rolling with gangsters. So we was like, fam, this is the frequency that we want to be on. We want to get on this frequency. We want some gangster shit. And then they gave us NWA. There's no turning back. Somebody said Houdini's, niggas wearing shirts and boots. I mean, you know what I'm saying? With the hazel eyes and shit, like, we was being fed a lot of conflicting messages as the youth. But look how weird, look how it is. During the times that I'm speaking of, where it was over. I'm talking about the moistness. It was fucking overload of moist singers, bro. When you really think about it, you niggas is complaining nowadays, talking about, oh, this nigga Young Thug was wearing a dress. Family, you obviously was not from the 80s, or you got your memory wiped clean on some Men in Black type of shit, because family, it was 100 acts in the 80s. There was wild moist. They was dressed moist. They was looking moist. And the fucking songs was some moist shit. Real talk. Somebody said DeBarge. I don't know about the Barge. The Barge, they was the dope fiends. The Barge Cameo. This nigga's singing a song with a jock strap on, and we all talking about tastes like candy. What the fuck tastes like candy? Cause you're not into what we into. So what's tasting like candy? You know what I'm saying? This nigga with his weird haircut. Then you had a rock and roll group called the Butthole Surfers. Nigga, don't talk to me about what the youth are doing today. Stop it, Five. Stop it, Five. We had some shit going on back in them days, bruh, that people don't want to talk about. You know? Oh, the Barge was the challenge of MJ. Well, we see who won that war. You know? We see who won that war. Oh, Zap. Kwame was sus. Yeah, I remember Boy George. Boy George was the most, he didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Did he turn out Pee Wee Herman? Yeah, Boy George didn't care. He was super suspect. You know what I'm saying? He was the way he stood with the broken, how the gay people stand with the broken hip bone? He was standing like that. And this nigga wear boots and shorts. He had all colorful hair. He had the Takashi hair before Takashi, nigga. Like, let's be clear. You know what I'm talking about? Let's be clear. You know what I mean? Parliament, Funkadelic with the diaper. Nah, I'm just saying Parliament was something different. They was Afrofuturists. They was on acid, my nigga. You know, Rex in Effect, Rump Shaker. Ooh, yeah. Rump Shaker. I mean, look, Jodeci saved us. Them niggas had on Timbs and rain suits, right? Jodeci saved us, right? My nigga Teddy Riley saved us. You know what I'm talking about? What was the group that R. Kelly was? Public Announcement saved us because he took Aaron Hall, right? Aaron Hall is Guy. Nigga, Guy saved us. They had you wanting to really smash and be a man. Bobby Brown with the no prerogative. Yes. Yes, nigga, preach. He saved us. That he definitely saved us. And then he went and grabbed up Whitney and he was like, yes, niggas. Get the good girls or the girls that act like they good. Yeah, they want us. And niggas in the street was like, that's right. We're gonna get us a secretary to look like Whitney. You know what I'm talking about? And turn her out. Come to find out, she might have turned him out. You know? Keith Sweat saved us, begging for the box. He saved us. Gerald Levert, Teddy Bear, he saved us. H-Town, them niggas was knocking some boots. That fucking move that they was doing when they was jumping around and shit, they saved us. Color Me Bad, nigga, they saved us. John B saved us. I'm just saying, the New Jack Swing and all of that. Black Street, yes, Black Street. Salute, yeah, they helped. They saved us. You know what I'm saying? They were the bridge before we went pure gangster, mixtape, Clue mixtapes and all of that. The R&B, the gangster R&B niggas, they were essential because they helped push the somebody said LOL John B though. Yeah, I mean John B got gray niggas popping. Gray niggas is who they're people who are not white nor black. They're just gray. You can't identify these niggas. They look white but don't act white. But then they don't necessarily act black either. They're just gray. He's a fucking gray. Hey, Johnny Gill. Let's not get into the Johnny Gill stories. Yeah, let's not get into Tevin Campbell because he didn't save us. You know what I'm saying? Tevin did not save us. They threw Tevin out there to try to throw niggas off. I'll Be Sure was moist, somebody said. Nah, I'll Be Sure had the draw. Man, I'll Be Sure had the ladies. I'll Be Sure that nigga was like Kaepernick for Team Light Skin. He was the captain. Somebody said quiet as kept. Kelly saved us too. Shit, I said Public Announcement, so I don't got to say that nigga's name, okay? But he did play a part. Jaheim pulled up and he hopped out. He did his thing. You know what I mean? Get these men their flowers, bruh. These were alpha R&B dudes. Yeah, Seal put on for niggas with they got cut on Rikers Island. Seal was putting on for niggas that had buck 50s. He made them pop. Okay? Kenny Lattimore, I don't know about that. Avant, legend, right? Yeah, I'll be sure was on his that. Come on, I'll be sure had him fainting, bro. He had him fainting. Jagged Edge, yeah, definitely. This is going later on down the line. Some of these names. I'm speaking really about the '90s, bro. When the transition, when they stopped the moist R&B, when they ended that shit, when Boy George and these niggas got deported because that wasn't good for our mental health, right? I'm a man who on intentions. Read the fucking lyrics to some of those old songs. Them niggas was putting spells on us. You come and go. Come a chameleon. You come and go. Right? Is that a double entendre or what? You know what I'm talking about? Yes, yes. And I forget to mention. And then it's called a culture club. Boy George and the Culture Club. Can you pull some of these niggas out for verses so they could get washed up by some of these black groups? I need them to stomp on these niggas because they was trying to rock us to sleep. Come a chameleon. What's the chameleon about? Who's the chameleon? Who's changing up and who's coming? Right? Talk black to me. Wesley Snipes killed the light-skinned niggas. Yeah, he did it in that movie where he took Denzel's wife or his girl and smashed the shit out of her. And after that, we was kind of like, they was putting us on a back burner for a few years and whatnot. That nigga needed to get locked up for light-skinned niggas to get back in, like, when Wesley Snipes got the tax charge, low-key, light-skinned niggas had a party that y'all wasn't invited to. You know what I'm talking about? Low key. There was a celebration because he was making it hard for niggas to score. He was making it a little bit hard. Is karma chameleon? Okay, so you having karma as a chameleon? I'm just saying, what's the subtleties? You know what I mean? I like to look beneath the surface. What were they talking to us about? What were they talking to us about? When he hit Halle Berry, yeah, they came after Wesley for the Dr. York thing. Of course. You know, the same way that you see them coming after people that are standing with Farrakhan. They did that with Dr. York before they took him down. What movie did he have Halle Berry in? What was that again? Because the movie I'm speaking about is More Better Blues. When they had that nice joint in there. What was her name? Oh my goodness. Nice little thing. She had the Anita Baker haircut. What was her name? A tall glass of water. You know what I mean? She wasn't as tall as Big Michelle, but she was tall nonetheless. Oh, and Jungle Fever? Yeah, I'm not really talking about that. I'm not really talking about that. But then he threw that nigga in Jungle. Yeah, Jungle. Yeah. Wait, Jungle Fever is when Wesley was with the white girl, right? Right. Yeah, Spike lined his ass up. Thank you, Spike. Yeah, after the sisters saw that, they was like, I'm good on Wesley. we gonna start chasing these niggas with the copper tone complexion. You know what I'm saying? But he's definitely not celebrated enough. Wesley was a beast. Wesley was a beast. Yeah, Prince. Nigga, Prince brought niggas back with Apollonia when he beat that on the river. Niggas was up for like 5 years after that. Remember that? You remember that? When he threw on the back of the bike? What's the name of that lake? Niggas in Wisconsin know about it. Yeah, he had Sheila E. He had Apollonia and Vanity. And this nigga wore stilettos. No, that's not Under the Cherry Moon. That's Purple Rain. That's Purple Rain. Lake Minnetonka, baby. That's a movie. Lake Minnetonka. Don't let me pull up in Minnesota, ladies. I'm gonna tell you to meet me on Lake Minnetonka. Oh shit. Prince had that shit lit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna tell you the kind of crush. I don't even know if it was Apollonia or Vanity. I just know it was one of them Jones. I was a youth and I couldn't have enough. Then I saw what were they in The Last Dragon? Were they in The Last Dragon? Was she the girl in The Last Dragon? Huh? Oh, come back. Yeah. Remember Darling Nikki? Oh my goodness. Darling. My father would be like, turn that off. You can't listen to that. I used to have to sneak to listen to Darling Nikki, bro. That was my joint. That was like X-rated when I was young. Darling Nikki was like a porn, of audio porn when I was a youth. And he wasn't really saying nothing now that I read the lyrics. That nigga was keeping it PG. But just imagine how innocent we were. Like, we've come a long way in this post-WAP society, my niggas. We've come a long way. Because I remember when Darling Nikki it was considered to be a dirty song. It was a dirty song. You know what I'm saying? Can it be Vanity from Last Dragon? Yeah, man. That's Vanity in Last Dragon. That was her. Yeah, she's her. Don't let me get my hand on the DeLorean. I'm pulling up with the MCM suit from Dapper Dan. I'm going right to Dapper Dan and get the Louis suit. Then I'm gonna find Apollonia, and then we're gonna pull up on Vanity, and I'm gonna have 2 E-pills, and we going in. That's right. I'm talking about. If I get in the time machine, that is. Was she on dope? I don't know. One of them died. Yeah, I heard that, man. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. I'm not into Sheila E. I'm not into Sheila E. Talk about crack since we in the 80s, what it was like as a kid back then. All right, well, let me show you something. Vanity died. Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. Sheila, Tina Marie died, right? Prince, like all of the legends. Sheena Easton, Sheila E. looking like a man now. Man, see what them pills do to you? Vanity died from that booger. She had the booger. Man. Somebody should have held on to her. She became a Christian and talked about all of the people. Yeah, ladies out here catching them bodies. Y'all might as well just bury a Bible somewhere because y'all going to be in the church soon. You already know. You know what I mean? Put your eyes on one of these ministries, my niggas, because they going to be in the church soon. Talking about they're real, they're what is that called? Born again? And you be like, you know what? I don't need to even get baptized because I've been baptized enough in the industry by Trey Songz and the rest of these niggas. So, yeah. Oh, Vanity had lupus. Vanity had lupus. Yeah, that she should have. Man, if I would have known that, we could have got her some kind of treatment. A prophetess, yeah. Why is it all of the go ask your prophetess on Sunday what the fuck was she doing in the 80s when Vanity and motherfucking Apollonia was popping? I bet you that prophetess was on that motherfucking crack pipe. Adina's in the church. You wouldn't know. I guess Little Kim is gonna go to the church soon, nigga. Little Kim is on her way to the church. You know what I'm saying? She's just practicing some of her fucking theology. She's probably in theology online or something, but she's on the way to the church too. You know what I mean? In like 10 years, Meg Thee Stallion's finna be a preacher. You know what I mean? We might even get Cardi with the biggest congregation of Latinos. You don't know what the fuck is going down. I mean, 2020 has shown you that nothing is off the table. Not a thing, right? Not a goddamn thing. Nothing is off the table. So, just look out. You know what I'm saying? Minister Meg. It won't even be Meg Thee Stallion no more. Just be Meg the Minister. You know what I'm talking about? Meg the Minister. Because that's where they go. That's the rest haven for retired thoughts. It's the fucking church. Talking about you been born again. All right, cool. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Whatever shoots you. Whatever. Church WAP. Yeah. Church Wappington. But look, we're going to talk about Patty Duke and his involvement in Yusuf Hawkins' killing, right? Let's talk about it now, and then let's talk about crack. So these stories have a lot to do with crack. Who saw the Yusuf Hawkins documentary on HBO? Because I didn't see it. I ain't see it yet. I lived through Yusuf Hawkins. I don't necessarily have to see the documentary to go back through the trauma of the Yusuf Hawkins murder in New York City. Matter of fact, I went to a high school called New Utrecht that was in Bensonhurst, right? In the calendar year of 1991. Now, Bensonhurst, if anybody follows the mafia or the mob, Bensonhurst was where Sammy the Bull and his ilk are from. Howard Beach is where John Gotti and his ilk are from in the mafia, right? Because remember, the Sicilians, or the Italians for that matter, they're different, right? So Italians in Brooklyn are different from Italians in Queens. But one thing's familiar with both of them is that they hate black people. So Yusuf Hawkins was one of the cases in New York City that sparked, right, the racial tensions in New York. Al Sharpton and them went to Bensonhurst to protest, and they threw watermelons at them. That's right. So the same killer that people be praising, the rat that's named Sammy the Bull, who was out here killing innocent men and mobsters as well. He belonged to a crime syndicate that hated and aided in the holding down of black families in New York City. And it started in the 50s. It started before that. Well, the TV show with Forrest Whitaker called Godfather in Harlem, it lays out the involvement of the Italian mafia in the heroin distribution, or what we call the drug scourge. Because remember, we're going to talk about a chemical warfare called crack in a minute. But before we talk about the chemical war of the crack era, we have to identify and point out the first war that was waged upon Black America, and that was the heroin. and that came from what is known as the French Connection, and that has something to do with Lucky Luciano and the syndicates, the 5 families, and they were in bed with the U.S. government because they helped them out in World War II. So they opened up the quote unquote floodgates and allowed them to flood Black America, Black hoods with heroin, with opium, with opiates. And our people have never bounced back from that quote unquote hit. To this day, we are still living in the fallout of the quote unquote atom bomb. There was the nuclear bomb that was dropped on our people, and that nuclear bomb was heroin. The motherfucking, they called it the horse, right? They call him King Heroin because you could not shake that shit. Okay, so go and research the French Connection. The French Connection is when the Italian mafia was in bed with the well, it was called Operation Underground, Operation Underworld. That's when they that's when they took Lucky Luciano out of the feds, and he helped them defeat Mussolini and them. But the French Connection is when the French mafia, who were in places like they were in North Africa. They were the ones who were the holdovers of the French who conquered the Moors and whatnot over there in places like Marseilles, Morocco, and all of that and whatnot. And they opened up a pipeline with the Italian mobsters to begin to flood our people with heroin, bruh, with heroin. And they show you that in The Godfather of Harlem, the frustrations that Bumpy Johnson was going through by fighting the mafia, who were what? Who were the greatest enemies of black people. They took over the numbers game with Dutch Schultz and them. That was the Irish mob and whatnot. And then they infiltrated with prostitution, with racketeering, with extortion, and with the drugs. Don't ever let no goddamn mobster talk about they not with selling drugs. They're a fucking lie. Okay? They're a lie. So, yeah, Billie Holiday, all of the jazz musicians, most of them, not all of them, but a lot of them were on it. And the Jewish lawyers, the Jewish managers, the Jews who were running Hollywood, and the ones who were controlling the music industry by way of mafia, they were responsible for hooking our people up with the drugs and keeping them drugged up and keeping them doped up and basically controlling them through the drugs the same way that they're controlling them through the drugs to this day. Yes, the movie Hoodlum, the movie Once Upon a Time, no, it was the movie Hoodlum. It's the movie what's the movie with Dutch Schultz in it? And damn, what was the movie? I like this movie. Me and my father used to watch it. They gave you the story about the mobsters and the drugs and the racket, the policy bankers, which were the number runners and whatnot. No, not Bronx Tale. Not Bronx Tale, and not King of New York. You know what I mean? King of New York is more fictitious. We're talking when we talk King of New York is the crack era. The movie Hoodlum is dealing with the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. That's the mob era. Cotton Club. There you go. The Cotton Club. The movie The Cotton Club, I believe it was. Right? That was the movie that was showing you the quote unquote the mobsters, the whole mobsters, the war that the mobsters were having with you know, Bumpy and them uptown and whatnot. Okay. Sugar Hill, yeah, it kind of showed you that. I don't know too much about Gangs in New York showing you that. Gangs in New York was like American Gangster, right? American Gangster. That is the tail end of, because in American Gangster, Bumpy Johnson opens it up and dies. Remember, he died right there with Frank Lucas in the store. Okay, so American Gangster is leading you into the is curtailing right on the heels of the crack era. American Gangster was was kind of like the ending of that whole dope fiend heroin type of era with Nicky Barnes turning state. He started snitching, and with Frank Lucas turning state, he started snitching, and they took down all of those organizations and whatnot. But back then, you wasn't going to the Dominicans to buy no weight. You had to get it from the Italians. The Italians were running the weight. They were the weight man. If anybody understands what the plug is, the Italians were the plug. So Italians were the plug. Bumpy Johnson is Baba Kalindi's great grandfather. Really? You're gonna have to show me that. Right? Bumpy died and Frank took over. I mean, that's how they frame it in the stories and whatnot. You know, they kind of, yeah, they did sensationalize. They did sensationalize that story. You feel me? So during this time, y'all, this case right here, okay? Yes, Boardwalk Empire, they gave you glimpses of it with Narcisse Valentine, or the character Narcisse Valentine, played by Jeffrey Wright. He was dealing heroin. He was low key. He was working out of the UNIA. He was working out of Garvey's headquarters. This is a fictional character, and he was pushing that boy. He was pushing that smack. He was selling that heroin, that horse. You know what I'm talking about? So you know that horse is back in the hood nowadays. The horse is back. Big heroin is back. But we talking about heroin during your grandfather's era, right? We talking about heroin during your great grandfather's era, shit like that. You know, when people who were coming, who were in poverty, I'm talking about abject poverty. They were pulling themselves out of abject poverty by selling that dog food, y'all. You know what I mean? And if you ever see what that dog food does to people, if you see how that heroin destroys, communities and whatnot, and what it does to the beauty of our people, right? Then you'll understand. Right? What the fuck was going on back then, right? People were still ODing back then. Yeah, the fentanyl is now the China White has stepped on, but yeah, they was doing some heavy ass dope. They was dealing with some heavy ass dope. You know what I mean? And people was ODing, and children as young as 10. I remember Frank Sutek from 125th, who was out there, who had Soul Brothers Boutique. He said that he was shooting dope at 11. He was shooting dope at 11, right? So there's some instrumental stories in the psyche of all New Yorkers, right? That had a lot to do with our shaping and our molding of our mentality. And Central Park 5, thank you, Bashira. Central Park 5, Crack Era, and Yusef Hawkins were the trifecta that buried the young black male images of our time. That is a fact. That is a fact, bro. Those three things right there, that is a trifecta. Those were catalysts when brothers such as myself and other brothers who were primarily born in the 70s, right? In the 60s, these cases affected us very heavily. Yusef Hawkins affected us very heavily, y'all. Very heavily. The racial tensions in New York, the racial tensions have not been to this day what it was back then. It ain't get to that level yet. Niggas is like, oh, New York is turned up and they're rioting. No, fam. Don't fall for that. It was more intense in 1989 and in 1990. It was more realer back then because the people in the streets was realer. They was already robbing and they was already beating white folk up. They was already robbing whole trains. They was already sticking shit up. These niggas was running in the city digging pockets for breakfast. So when the racial tensions popped off, that shit even turned people into more monsters in these streets. It's not nowadays. It's nothing compared to the 90s, y'all. I don't know what these people be talking about, but it ain't nothing like what it was. Let's say our blessings. Because a lot of these niggas would not survive 3 days in these streets. Bernard Getz. So Bernard Getz, he's the vigilante who basically clapped 4 people on the train. Similar to the Joker movie when he clapped the 4 men on the train. That was the Bernard Getz. That was the play on Bernard Getz, because he did the same thing. But the only thing was he clapped black men. They were trying to rob him and whatnot. And that gave a lot of Peckerwood's heart. You know what I'm talking about? Because before that, they was just mad timid. You know what I mean? That's just the best way to say it. They was just wild timid. They would not fight back. They would not fight back, yo. I promise you. It got boring after a while. You just be thumping on them like, damn, this niggas don't fight back. They would not fight back. They did not have it in them. They was on some no ma shit before you even started swinging on them. You know what I mean? But after Bernard Getz, then we started getting a little pushback. You know what I'm saying? Then we started getting some pushback. I was a part of, me and AA and my brother Blue, we were young, but we were with the robber crews. We was with the posses. That's what they called it. That we wasn't gangs. We were posses. And our job was to terrorize. We didn't know anything else but to be terrorists. We were terrorizing everything we came into contact with, because that's the energy that we was on. And we were being fueled. We had anger issues. We were being fueled by what they did to young Yusef, what they did to the brother Michael Stewart, what they did to a whole bunch of people. You know what I mean? We used that as fuel to punish these white folk. Whenever we saw them, I'm talking about, it was on sight the minute we saw them. Niggas did not wait, yo. Even if police was around, it was on sight. I don't know what was going on in black men's minds. It might have been the 40 ounces. I wasn't a drinker, but the niggas that we was rolling with the big homies. So we was the little homies. So you already know what it is. We're just following the lead, bro. And the OGs, the ones that were older than us, whose fathers probably was in Vietnam, these niggas was certified crazy. Okay? I just want to leave it at that. So anyway, Hot 97 emerged as the home of hip hop, right? So let's read the story. The consequences from HBO's Storm Over Brooklyn documentary highlighting the 1989 murder of Yusef Hawkins have crept their way into New York radio station Hot 97. On Sunday, August 23rd, the 31st anniversary of Hawkins' murder, the station announced in a statement they fired longtime executive Patty Duke for his involvement in his death. After watching HBO's Storm Over Brooklyn, Hot 97 was shocked and took swift action. The statement read, Patty Duke is no longer employed by Hot 97. The march for social justice continues. I say, eat it. I say, that's a crock of shit. So this pale Peckerwood right here on your left, right? Looking like hot shit on a stick, right? With the striped shirt. That's Patty Duke with no melanin. Know what I'm talking about? So they said, oh my goodness, in 30 years, right? Now look at this. Let me just show you how crock of shit Hot 97 is. And I think the whole station needs to get shut down, because this is a level of deception that is unforgivable, right? So Patty Duke, aka Pasquale Rucci, right? One of the men who helped kill Yusef Hawkins. So look at this, right? So this is what Hot 97 wrote, the fake shit, right? With his picture in Bed-Stuy. This is a famous mural in Bed-Stuy. If you're walking on Fulton, you'll see it. So Duke, whose real name is Pasquale Rucci, this is a name that you cannot forget. This is a name that nobody else has. This is a unique name. He was among a mob of white men who crowded Hawkins and 3 other black teens and attacked them in Bensonhurst, a predominantly Italian-American section of Brooklyn. The mob thought that they were part of a different group of black teens headed to a party at the home of a local girl the mob believed had been dating a black man, right? Going back to what I said before on previous occasions, that when you look at the lynching pictures, when you look at when you go and do the research on the majority of the lynchings that took place over time in history, it either involved monetary dealings, right? Like a robbery, like a black man might have stole some shit or took something or owed a European some kind of money, but 7 times out of 10 it was because of something dealing with sexuality or white fucking women. White box, Becky box, the cave Becky. That's who is the quote unquote, they are in the middle. They are the quote unquote, they're always there. They're always somewhere in the picture. For all of you brothers that running around chasing and then want to talk about, I need help. For all of the brothers that are running around tagging along, because you're not even chasing, you're tagging, you're a tag along. You're the help. You're the help. She's not the help. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, you're the help. So they are the catalysts in our torture, our lynchings, our heinous murders at the hands of little dick energy. These peckerwoods who can't take it when they see us with their women, right? They can't take it because the prize is the woman at the end of the day. And for you ladies, don't ever try to talk to us about, oh, you don't understand. You don't understand how a man mind. You could read all the fucking Steve Harvey books in the world. You don't know how men think. So when we see you getting drilled by a white boy or Luca, we like, God damn, that's fucking that's treason. You know what I'm saying? We want to, like, we not feeling that because, well, most of us, some of these niggas been raised up to be wild passive and they just don't give a fuck. They don't really care. They don't care if a dog is sleeping with you, sisters, because they don't care about you. You know what I'm talking about? They're not even physically attracted to you. How about that? So black men, when they see their women with any other man, they could be with a fucking alien, we're gonna feel some kind of way because we're like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? We're at war. What are you doing over there? At least when we got these goddamn Beckys, you know, they're not dominating us most of the time. Like, we over here stunting with their prize. We got their chess piece. You know what I'm saying? You know, for some black men that don't have power and don't have resources and don't have land, the only power that they got is to drill a white girl. That's the only way that they could tap into the American pie, by sticking their phallus into that pie. That's how they get their rocks off. That's how they empower. That's how they could walk around with their heads up, like, and then look at white people in their face, like, yeah, I'm bending her. I'm drilling the shit out of her. Yeah, look at, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look at her hair. Yeah, the shit is a puffy afro because I blew it out. That's how men may think. What are the women thinking? What are you sisters thinking when you were with a white man? Is that a status or something? Who the fuck are you stunning on? What is your flex about? Who are you flexing on other than black men? Because you can't be flexing on a white woman. They don't even want these niggas. The white women don't really want they men, so you're not flexing on them. Who the fuck are you flexing on? What's the flex about? Who are you flexing on? You got to be flexing on your men. So black men is gonna take something. They're gonna be like, fuck you. They're gonna take they're not gonna say it to your face, but behind closed doors, they talk about you like a dog. You and your white man. They talk about you like you the worst thing walking this planet. You know what I'm saying? Who are you flexing for? Your bills? It doesn't have to be a flex. Yes, it does. Everything's a flex. She might be attracted to other men. Stop watching Disney. Fuck is you saying? That's not, nah. I'm not trying to hear that. Like I said, we was watching all of that white shit when we was younger. It didn't have us running behind fucking Becky and Barbie. You know what I mean? Yeah, like how Eve and Serena did. That's a flex that they did. That was a flex that Halle Berry did. She thought she was stunting and she got stunted on. She thought that she was stunting and got stunted on. They're not, so every girl that you dated, you flexed on? Yeah, nigga. Who are you? What do you do in your life? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, nigga, I flex. If I broke up with a shorty, nigga, my next girl is a flex. What the fuck? What is your walk looking like? Cause that's how we flex. Becky got 800 credit card, you know, and I'm not co-signing none of that. I'm saying that both parties, this out here trying to flex on each other, you just flexed on yourself. You flexing on yourself. For a black man who had a rope around his neck before his ass got hung, I know he was like, I shouldn't have fucked with this chick for what the fuck am I out here doing? Barquisha and them was over there hollering at me on the west side. And here I go on this Tinder date, and she done lined me up, and her brother and them is about to hang me. That's not a flex. You're not getting nothing from that. You're not getting nothing from that. You know what I'm talking about? What do you think? I date down, my nigga? You think if now I'm flexing. What are you talking about? Yes, I'm flexing. You're not gonna catch me out there with the new shorty and then stun on her like, damn nigga, that's what you did after you broke up with me. Like, you alright? You're not gonna catch me like that. You know? You're not gonna catch me like that. Niggas flexing. So there'd be a lot of that going on. And I'm here to say that that's not what's up. Brothers, you should really do your research and ask yourself, is it worth, is it worth it? You are in a hostile country. The fact that niggas got put in chains in the first place is because you had white women as your concubines back in the days, and the daughters of the revolution. You had niggas had concubines in America before the Civil War. Fuck, you know what I mean? Like, you got to get your stories straight. You got to do more research. White women were being sold up until like the Civil War and probably a little while after that. So you got to understand the politics of the countries that you in. These niggas come from Africa and go to France and Europe and whatnot and Germany and be laying up with Becky's and whatnot, not realizing what the Reconquista was about, what the Crusades was about, what all of these wars that these Europeans fought. What the fuck do you think it was about? Because at the end of the day, they're not just willingly giving their women up to your ass. They feel militant when they see you, with they women. Bro, I have to get you out of here. Fuck out of here, bro. So yeah, let's get back to the story about Yusef Hawkins and Hot 97. Because people are not thinking in a war type of strategy. That people is on goofy time, and that's not what America is about. It ain't never been about that, and it's never gonna be about that. You keep doing your ashes and your meditations and hug as many trees as you want and save the dolphins, my friends. But that's not going to turn this shit around. That's not going to turn around the mind state of these men right here. This right here, look at the faces of these Italians. They could have been the same. This might as well superimpose superimpose a Roman outfit on both of them, on all three of them. Superimpose a conquistador uniform on all of them, right? Superimpose anything from the Crusader era, because these are the same conquistadors and crusaders that was killing Moors in Europe or Italy, right? These are the same Neanderthals. These are the same little dick energy. These are the same ones who were persecuting and chasing down Africans up in Europe. And then when they were in the Americas, they were the same ones chasing down brothers in Georgia, Atlanta, Florida, the Chesapeake Valley, all of these places, and taking their women for them as booty of war. Or they were mad that their women was out here choosing niggas with long locks. You know what I'm talking about? And chocolate skin. You know what I'm talking about? That shit burns them up. So these four men have been enemies of the state. They've been the black man's enemy way before they was even born. They was born into this racism. They were born into this inferiority complex. They were born into that. That's what they're about. That's what they walk with. That's what they think about. That's why they fetish on black women and like to nibble on you and bite and chew on you like you're a fucking Kit Kat bar. You know what I'm saying? And when they get you behind closed doors, they want to ravage you because they're taking all of that. It's called domination, it's Roman domination aggression, right? They're fetishizing you. Okay? They're fetishizing you. They don't love you, they lust. That's a fetish. You're a delectable Negro. Okay? And some women is in pots and pans when they really want to eat your ass, because that's what they get down and that's what they do. Right? They fetish you. Oh, he into the WAP. He want me for the WAP. Okay. All right. Here you go. So you mean to tell me this man's picture and his name is right here? The court case was in 1990 and 91, right? This nigga got to hot 97. So you mean to tell me that his face, nobody noticed his face? You know what I'm saying? Nobody noticed his name at hot 97? You didn't do, if a nigga try to get a job, he's going to get a background check. You're not doing background checks on Peckerwoods? Is that what you're telling me? Huh? This is my dude, Internet's Dallas Penn. America is a glorious place. Where else could someone who hates blacks and goes out with a lynch mob and kills a black teen reinvent himself as an executive for a radio station that features R&B and rap music? Patty fucking Duke, who Angie Martinez would shout out every single episode. I want to give a shout out to Patty Duke, Hot 90, Funk Master Flex, Patty Duke in the house. They was always saying his name. They was always bigging him up. This nigga became a program director. He was picking out the commercials and the songs at the radio station. The same way that this nigga Ebro started out as the program director. Ebro started out as a program director. He wasn't even a personality. He was the person that you had to go to break songs, and he was responsible for all of the filth that they were playing in New York City, right? Hawkins and company were in Bensonhurst inquiring about a used 1982 Pontiac advertised in a newspaper for $900. Soon, Hawkins and his 3 associates were being followed by a group of 10 white men that soon swelled to 30 men. Some held bats and began yelling racial slurs at the group. Let's club the niggas. Soon, gunshots rang out. Hawkins was shot twice in the chest and later died at the hospital. 5 members of the mob were arrested in connection, right? Duke's ousting from the station has raised questions concerning the station's hiring of Duke, as well as other knowledge of his prior crimes had been known by execs who given him a job. According to his LinkedIn profile, he served as the producer of Angie Martinez's show and was on-air DJ at the station from 94 until 03 before he became the commercial production director. So this nigga was climbing up the ladder. He was a producer of the show in 94. The fucking case was over in 91. So this is what hip hop, this is what and you have to understand who Hot 97 is in the scheme of things. The reason why this is so problematic, the reason why this is such a problem, because these people at Hot 97 broke most of the hip hop acts that you know today. Hot 97 was very instrumental in what you see, the debauchery, whether they were playing, and it comes to right here, that they say that black is king. I say no, nigga, crack is king. Okay? And the WAP video showed you that black is not necessarily king. Crack is king. And everything that came out of crack is king. The fact that the shit that you saw on WAP, that's a fallout of the crack era, my niggas. All of you fucking liberated thoughts out there. That's a fallout. That is a direct fallout from the crack era. Okay? Crack is king. So somebody asked me earlier, what about crack? You want to know about crack? Let's talk about crack. So like I was saying, when we were younger, we lived in a day and time where we knew the impact of crack on the culture because we saw the shit go dark. We saw it change. We saw it descend. Because, you know, as much as Boy George and Prince and early MJ and all of that was similar kind of moist, it wasn't, these niggas was on coke. They was on cocaine, right? And like, you know, whatever else drugs they were using. They wasn't in their zombie phase yet. They wasn't in the we wasn't going through the dark ages. So even though the music was, you know, it wasn't considered to be hard, right? Or it wasn't considered to be rough music. Nigga, we wasn't living through rough times like that. We wasn't going through a Nightmare on Elm Street like that. You know what I'm talking about? We wasn't going through that. We were really living our lives. We were somewhat innocent. And yes, they had crime. Yes, they had gangs. You know what I mean? They had, you know, people was fighting. It wasn't even a lot of killings. There wasn't really a lot of guns like that. People were mostly fighting and stabbing. You had to have a knuckle game back in the day. Niggas would knock your block off. When crack came, 84, 85, 86, and it really crescendoed in 90 when New York was the murder capital. David Dinkins was the mayor. We had a black mayor who was a Democrat. So, you know how that goes. You know what I'm talking about? You know, shit was off the chain. That was after A. Koch. We had a black mayor. So niggas was going silly. They was in them streets going silly. Life was good. Families were together. The butterflies were flying. The lightning bugs was out. Ladybugs were out. You know what I'm talking about? It felt differently. It felt like the sun was shining brighter. Right? Oh yeah, the mayor in DC was definitely smoking. Shout out to Marion Barry. He was on that pipe. And things began to change for the worse. You know, things began to change with the worse. And Nancy Reagan with that fake ass just say no campaigns, and the Iran Contra scandal with Oliver North and Freeway Ricky, Rich Porter, Alpo, and AZ and them, right? They all played their hand in destroying our people, right? They all had a hand in, when Public Enemy said it takes a nation of millions to hold us back. Well, God damn it, those were the millions. When Michael Jackson turned into a fucking zombie for the Thriller video, nigga, shit went out the window after that. We really started to see real life zombies. When Public Enemy said Night of the Living Baseheads, and the nigga was a basehead, right? And then the movie started coming out. That's when the shit went on a global scale. That's when it got commercialized, and that's when it basically was broadcasted around the world and around black hoods everywhere, like in places where they wasn't selling crack. But after Colors came out, and then Boys in the Hoods came out, and then Menace to Society came out, and then New Jack fucking City came out, oh my goodness, it was something else, bro. And people blame NWA and they point fingers at NWA for a lot of the debauchery and shit like that. But when you really sit back and look at it, that shit was all happening simultaneously. New Jack City, no, Belly is later on, fam. Belly is way down the line. Belly is a period age movie of the 90s, but Belly came out, what was that, 2000s? Early 2000s? No, Colors, very heavy predictive programming. Colors was heavy. Jason Lyrics was heavy. New Jack City was heavy. Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood. To be honest with you, that pushed gang culture super heavy. Yeah, King of New York was on it too. King of New York was on it. But I'm talking about the movies that programmed these niggas. I'm talking about the movies that gave these niggas the motherfucking green light to do what they do. Deep Cover was one of them. Oh, damn, how can I forget? Juice. There you go. So this what happened after Juice came out, right? Somebody Google what year was Juice, right? And strapped in Juice had a lot to do with the gun busting, right? Because before that, it wasn't a lot of gun violence. You had dudes here and there, clapping and whatnot. The Jamaicans brought a lot of the gun violence, right? The Jamaicans brought a lot of the gunplay with the shower posse, and they came with the Uzis and whatnot. So they sprayed up a whole bunch of ADOS niggas. A lot of ADOS got killed because they were still doing knuckles. They were still fighting. The Jamaicans came on some shots of shit. They came on some what's that nigga Hard to Kill, like Screwface. They came with the gunman talk. And they was Swiss cheesing a lot of dudes in the hood for the corners and whatnot, because the Jamaicans came with the crack and they came with the weed, right? The shower posse was working with the CIA by way of Ciega. So they were coming into America with suitcases filled up with bricks on bricks on bricks. And they, by way of the CIA, implemented a lot of drugs into the East Coast. I'm not talking about the West Coast right now. We know that that's Freeway Ricky Ross, but I'm talking about the shower posse and a lot of them Jamaican niggas. They were the ones that brought a lot of that quote unquote murder into our hoods, right? So Scarface definitely set the tone. Scarface set the tone, of course. Scarface had niggas selling dope, right? Scarface had a lot of people selling dope. Scarface had a lot of people just in the streets just getting with they illegal shit. But when Juice came out, remember, like I said, we was rolling in what is known as posses. There's gangs called Decepticons. You got the low lifes. You know, you had neighborhood posses and whatnot, and these were beat down posses. You know how you got BDP, which is the beat down crew, or the beat down posse, or Boogie Down Productions. If you get caught slipping on the train, or if you get caught by your school and whatnot, you was getting stripped and niggas was gonna beat you down. You might get hit with the they had brass knuckles. You might get knocked out if somebody's playing a knockout game. And what the Juice did with Tupac playing Bishop is it created the lone gunman, right? So even in the movie Juice, you see that he started out, right? He started out with a posse. They was 5 of them, right? They was all running as a crew. And then they programmed the whole aspect of the individual into it. They gave you that individuality, you know what I'm saying? About the nigga who was like, you know what? It's just me and my gun. I don't need to roll with a crew no more. And then outside of that, he started flipping on his crew. Yes, Sugar Hill was also a very instrumental movie that helped to program the minds of the youth in our hoods and whatnot to get into a life of criminality. We were already into criminality. We were somewhat hypnotized by criminality or criminology and whatnot. But these movies were the soundtracks. These movies were the soundtracks, right? These movies were the soundtracks. These movies gave us the green light. It gave us the lifestyle on the big screen. Shit that we was in our hoods doing, and we didn't think nobody knew about it. We didn't think nobody cared about it. They put that shit on a big screen. Above the Rim played a big part as well. But before Above the Rim with Tupac and before Poetic Justice, he cut his teeth with Bishop. He never got out of character after Bishop. That nigga was Bishop until he died. But when he brought that aspect of Bishop, who was crossing his friends, it wasn't even for money. I don't even think he was crossing them for money. He was killing off his friends because that nigga didn't like him. That's what created a lot of bodies in the hood. That was a catalyst to a lot of murder in our neighborhoods because niggas started going full lone gun. You started getting baby. Remember who from Brooklyn and remember Babyface? If you remember Babyface, put a fire emoji in the motherfucking chat, bruh. Babyface was a Jamaican, right? Who got his brother had got killed. His brother was in the streets and he wasn't, right? His brother got murdered. Babyface went to Jamaica and went and got some work done on him. He went to see the Obia man, right? We told you black magic matters, right? So Babyface went and got some work done, and then Babyface started killing niggas, and he was protected by voodoo. So I'm talking about they had a motherfucking police hunt. The police, I'm talking about 3 precincts. This was after he caught like his 12th body. The police precinct was hunting down Babyface. This nigga Babyface dressed up like a woman and walked right past him. There was even stories of Babyface getting out the car and walking right past the police. People are like, nigga, what are you talking about? I'm trying to explain to you that the man went and got some Obia done on him. Okay? He went and got some Obia. That's when we was young in the hood and we was like, don't fuck with the Jamaicans. They will body you in front of the police. Okay? That's when we knew that Obia shit was real because this nigga was making the papers. He was bodying, I'm talking about he caught revenge on his brother's death. He killed everybody that has something to do with it. And then he turned into murder for hire. And the reason why the black magic wore off is because when they did the Obi on him, they said that you basically gotta, you will be protected as long as you are seeking revenge. But then he tried to turn it into a business. And what happened? He went to Atlanta, he killed somebody over a parking spot, and then he got caught. They're gonna do a movie on him one day. They're gonna do a movie on him one day. But he was a prime example of how the individual shooters who used to terrorize our neighborhoods. We had serial killers. We had serial rapists. A nigga that I went to school with, Kiki, was the Flatbush rapist. They found out later on down the line. That nigga was on Rikers Islands with us. You know what I'm saying? And you could not call him a rapist or right because he was out there cutting niggas. Where's he at now? Who? Babyface is locked up. What are you talking about? You think he in the streets, nigga? Babyface is he's locked up. I don't know what state he's in. He had cases in New York and he had cases down south. So, you know, that's an urban legend. Where can you find more on him? You got to talk to niggas in the hood. I don't know what his real name is. If somebody knows his real name, just Google Babyface Daily News. Babyface and Killer, and then the Daily News. And maybe the archives will come up. You know? This is Larry Davis on the shirt, right? Larry Davis, the Larry Davis Gun Club. Larry Davis shot the police. You know what I mean? Why are you concerned about Patty Duke? We already talked about Patty Duke. Patty Duke is a white boy, right? Who worked at Hot 97, who helped kill Yusef Hawkins, and he was an executive at Hot 97. Okay? He was an executive at Hot 97. Yeah, Omar the Wire. You know what I'm talking about? Omar the Wire, that lone gunman who was out there terrorizing things. Yeah, Larry had bodies too. Larry was a hitman for the police, though. Larry was out there doing hits. Larry was like on the tail end of the gangsters who would do hits for the mob, right? And he would do hits for the mob, and you know, they would do hits for the streets. You know what I'm saying? You had gunmen for hire like in the late 80s and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? You had gunmen, they were working with the mafia, like Bumpy Johnson and them would do hits for the mafia. You know? So Patty Duke is a op. That's who he is. And Hot 97 is a station that helped to spread hip hop, but crack rap, right? Hot 97 helped spread gangster rap. Hot 97 did not push brothers and sisters who were calling themselves God. They was not pushing the gods in the earth. They were not pushing the black God talk. They were not pushing Sharif, you know, the nigga from Menace, the deep nigga. They was not pushing intelligent black voices for them to say that Black Lives Matter and they on a fake social justice vibe these days. They did not break those artists. Punk Master Flex, he did not break those bodies. Okay? He did not break those artists. I mean, Prince Low from Brooklyn, 32 bodies. Which one is Prince Low? To who's Prince Low? Where he's from? You know, where he from? Because I know I could pull up World from LG. There's a bunch of people that had some Mad Max body counts in Brooklyn and shit. You know? Okay, Babyface real name is Richard James White, and he's doing life in Georgia. Okay? He had killed a man and his wife for a parking spot. He did some real doofy shit. So yeah, he's doing life in Georgia. He had a chance to escape too. In New York, somebody had broke out of a they were in court, they were in arraignment, and they basically escaped. You know, I spoke to the dude. I was locked up with him. And he was like, yeah, Babyface was in a cell. And he was like, yo, you don't want to get out? And Babyface was like, nah, I'm tired of running. And he just went to sleep. He didn't even break out with the dude. He stayed in the cell. So, you know, sometimes people are, you know, they do what they do. They make their you know, they do what they do and they pay their dues, you know. He probably felt bad about what he did, you know what I mean? He didn't want to run no more. So, going back to what I'm talking about, what Hot 97 and Crack is King. Who was pushing Jay-Z's crack narrative? Hot 97. Who was pushing all of the gangster rap? Hot 97. Who was pushing everything negative? Hot 97. Who picked up later on to push gang culture? Hot 97. Who's pushing Brooklyn drill? Hot 97. Who's pushing Fabio Foreign, Pop Smoke, Chef G, 22 G's, the Woo Skis, the motherfucking Chos, all of the gangs, the Bloods with Tekashi. Who was on Tekashi's nuts? Hot 97, right? This is a radio station that has not done anything for the communities in which they are broadcasting to over 40 years. All they do is give these niggas summer jam. Okay? That's all they do. But they're not out there breaking no conscious artists. They're not promoting no conscious speakers. They had Dr. Sabi on Mrs. Jones, right? And next thing we know, Mrs. Jones got fired and moved to another station, right? So who's pushing the LBGQ? Hot 97. They was pushing that back in the days when Puerto Ricans was the original LBGTQ. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? For all of you sisters that out here that swear that y'all started this rainbow shit, no, my nigga. Puerto Rican shorties was the first ones out here munching on carpets. That was their thing. That was a Puerto Rican thing. Who can remember that? Huh? And when you ask anybody who's done any type of time, who are the niggas who lay up with the trannies? Who is the niggas? They will stick anything into anything wet. That's the Puerto Rican niggas. Okay. They anybody who been locked up already know they don't see gender. They don't see gender. They don't see none of that. Ebro is mixed. He's mixed. He's mixed. So back in my days when we were younger, we already knew what it was. Them Spanish niggas was wild, spicy, and freaky. And they was the ones that was protecting the transsexuals because the transsexuals was doing favors for them, right? They take showers with them and all of that. Okay? And the Dominicans. Who brought the pill popping? Who brought the ecstasy? It was the Spanish people in New York. They were the ones kissing cousins. And I'm not shitting on nobody that's of Spanish descent on this thing right now. I'm just giving you the history. You know what I'm talking about? I'm giving you the history, and you know what it is. You know, back in the days before that shit, before Ja Rule and them started making videos showing girls kissing, before they try to make that shit, we knew. Even with the Latin Kings had to form because the Nietas had a whole bunch of fruitcakes in it. And one of the tenets to be a Latin King is that you couldn't sleep with your brother. Why would they even have that as a rule? The fucking Bloods never had that as a rule. You know what I'm talking about? Why? Because that's what they was on. That's what they was on. I feel that the conquistadors, all the way back from what the conquistadors went up in Latin America and did with all of that butt loving. You know what I'm saying? It was the Romans, it was them conquistadors that brought a lot of that lifestyle with them goddamn preachers and them Jesuits poking them little boys and whatnot. They turned out the goddamn Central and South America. Who brought the ecstasy? Our people wasn't popping no pills like that. Our people was turning their nose up to pills. You know what I'm saying? And then you had the little freaky groupies and whatnot from the Bronx, and they was doing anything and everything that you can imagine. Okay? That's what they was on. You go to the Bronx, it's going down. Go and ask Remy Ma. You know what I'm talking about? Go and ask Remy Ma. That's not even long ago. That's not long ago. That's the 90s in New York. You didn't have black women running around swinging, talking about I'm only into women. And no, fam, go and ask anybody from New York. Not these new niggas either, because they don't know nothing. These niggas was in a house, bro. These little niggas that grew up and got facial hair when, from smoking weed, they didn't come outside. They didn't come outside. And who kept the heroin shit going? Who kept the methadone shit going? Anybody knows when they call medications, when you locked up and they say meds, who the fuck is crowding the line? Who's going to push you out the way? Who's going to push you out the way? Right? So they done turned them. They turned up that Montega. That's right. I'm not, and I hope nobody feels that I'm being facetious by just giving you the plain. I'm giving you the fucking real. I'm just giving you a rundown without cutting any corners, right? Without cutting any corners, I'm just giving you the real. Not to say that everybody was on that. Let's be clear. They weren't on that. But the way that I work, the way that my optics work is through observation. And when I looked around, that's what I saw in my peripherals and in my circumference. And I went through different phases in my life. I went through the jail phase. I went through the club phase. I was in the nightclubs. I was a promoter. I was in them streets. And I started traveling up and down I-95 starting in 1993. I was in DC. I was in VA. I went to Atlanta later on down the line in 97. So I seen a lot. And I'm here to let you know who was at the foundation of this shit. And it wasn't our people like that. This is learned behavior. And the intermediums or the buffer race between the European and niggas are the Latinos. Okay? They've always been. They are the ones who hold up the spirituality of the church. They go harder in the Roman Catholic Church than the motherfucking Romans. How about that? They go harder. They do more spells in Spanish Harlem and in the motherfucking Bronx than they do in Rome. Okay? They do more sacrifices. They do more magic. They do more, they put more black people under persecution on their islands and in their fucking countries than the Europeans do. They're the buffer race. Okay? They the buffer race. They've helped out the church ever since the church started beheading our kings and queens and whatnot. It's been the quote unquote Moriscos, the little Moors, the Moriscos. They've been the ones who've been holding white zaddy's hands, and they've been the one who've been betraying their African grandmamas, and they've been the ones who've been cutting off the phalluses of our people to keep us away from their women. And they've been the one who have been spreading the motherfucking gospel and these lies, right? Since day one. These are the Morenos, and they keep that anti-Moorish sentiment very strong all over their fucking country. But when you go to their countries, why is it that the church is in the middle of all of their countries, but they selling their fucking babies? They're selling, their mamas is selling box. They got their mamas, they got the daughters, they got the aunties, they even got granny in them on some sex industry type shit. These are narco states. They're running cocaine, they're running pills, they're running heroin, they're running all kind of drugs through them. Why? Because these are the conquered lands of the quote unquote crusaders, and they step on these people because this is where the Jesuit outpost is. This is where the Roman Catholics are. They holding these people down. They're holding the Tainos down. They're holding the Arawaks down. They are stifling them. And then they have them under this opiate of the church. The church is an opiate, okay? The church is an opiate on Mexicans, on Puerto Ricans. What the fuck is Puerto Rico? The port of riches. What are the Dominican named after? The Dominican priesthood, which is a priesthood of Jesuits. You understand? This is the help. This is the help. Y'all are the glorified help of the quote unquote Roman Catholic Church, because I'm not going to say white supremacy. I'm not even going to say the white man, because when they were out there putting in that work on Montezuma and other people, it wasn't no such thing as white people. They weren't called white people. So these are the conquistadors, right? These are the murderers of Guadalupe. These are the conquistadors. These are the Jesuits. And you would be surprised because they're not all quote unquote white. These were mulattoes. Don't be fooled. I just saw a video that Dane Calloway did where he showed Christopher Columbus as black. Here we go with Mr. Guzman said that I'm misinformed. Well, if I'm misinformed, my friend, give us the fucking real to real. Teach us, please. Because like I said, I'm just sitting back observing. Y'all are the fucking buffer race. Okay? You're the buffer race. You play both sides. You play both sides all the time. Okay? And y'all shit on the African phenotype in your countries. Every time that I go and I see it, you got melanated people in Puerto Rico getting stepped on, in Panama getting stepped on, in Mexico getting stepped on, in Peru getting stepped on, right? All you Telemundo ass niggas is out there stepping on melanated people, right? And y'all do it to put on for these fucking Europeans. And y'all sell y'all people to the Europeans because that's what they do. They stepped on you. They stepped on you. They don't have no respect for you. Fuck out of here. You niggas running around playing with your straight hair and thinking that you some kind of fucking European, and you're not. And you're not loyal. You're not loyal. You're not loyal to Mama Africa. There's not a whole bunch of Che Guevaras running around these streets, bro. Y'all are not loyal to nobody right now. Y'all running around with that fake ass Latin shit. That's not even a fucking nationality. What are you talking about? Because you speak Spanish? What is that? And you don't even acknowledge your Moorish fathers who taught you niggas, who even brought about the Spanish tongue. So until the majority of the quote unquote Latinx or Latinos start giving it up and stop fucking sitting around and let us teach all day, but y'all don't know, y'all need to speak the truth. Speak the truth. You need to denounce these crackers. You need to denounce these goddamn Jesuits. You need to denounce the Roman Catholic Church. You need to get them out of your country. And then we will start. But you need to stop the fucking drug trade. You need to shut those borders down, because the chemical warfare, you know who, you know, shit rolls downhill. Guess who's getting the brunt end of all of that? Niggas. Okay, niggas. We are suffering because of the quote unquote crack trade. We're suffering because of the heroin. We're suffering because all of these chemicals, and they're using y'all as fucking buffers. Okay, stop playing with us. Y'all are the help. And I see people positioning themselves to kind of move us out the way type shit. You know what I mean? Y'all like the small hats. Y'all are like the small hats. Y'all only ride with us when we in our fucking lower self. Y'all only want to stand with us when we in our debauchery self. But when we in our God self, You won't see the small hat standing next to a black man calling himself or herself God. They don't want to hear about black is king. They want to fuck with crack is king. If you got a Jewish friend, go ask them who are their favorite rappers. They're not going to say Talib Kweli. They're not going to say that. You know? So we need Chicanos know who the real, they rep their and look, the Chicanos, I seen them repping. I seen some brothers in LA repping. I seen brothers in the Bronx repping. But I'm not talking to them. I'm not talking to them. And if y'all on this line and if you hear my voice, I ain't talking to you. But I'm talking to the majority of the people who are out here. You know what I'm saying? The interlopers. And you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. U.S. is trying to build a wall. The wall is to keep us in hindsight. The wall is to keep us in. I don't know if about the wall trying to keep them from coming in. They are going to deputize and weaponize the Latin. They're gonna I said it before. They're gonna deputize the LBGT community. They're gonna let these niggas police niggas, right? They're gonna give them some weapons, and they're gonna say, "Yo, police these niggas." You know what I'm saying? You know, be our overseers, and they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it for a seat at the table. So all of that shit that Trump was doing over these years is to make niggas start really acting like they want a seat at the table. You know what I'm talking about? What do you do to a weak people? You keep pushing them away from the table, pushing them away from the table, pushing them away from the table. You show them the chair, you push them away. You show them the chair, you push them away. Sooner or later, these niggas will kill to sit at this table. And that's what they got. Black women, black men, Spanish women, Spanish men, Indian women, Indian men, Asian women, Asian men. They're doing it to all of these fucking dreamers. They're doing it to all of the people who are not fucking pale. They're doing it to everybody who don't fucking look like a Barbie doll. And for the weak-minded, moist people who want to be the brandies of our people, the niggas that just want to be down, what do you see them doing? These niggas are putting on their lap dancing in order to get a fucking seat. Women are twerking, talking about you could get some of this WAP. You got gay niggas twerking at rallies and whatnot in front of the police. You know what I mean? They ready. They're like, yo, D. Ray McKinnison, he got a whole team of bussy warriors ready to bust down any white man that they need to bust down to sign a fucking bill or two. You know what I mean? You got these, and then you have the dreamers and the people that want a fucking green card. They will do anything at this point. Even with America looking the way that it's looking, they're like, yo, I'll do whatever it takes to be an American citizen. If we have to lock these niggas up, if we gotta run down, if we gotta walk them down, we will. If we gotta walk them down and clean the hood up, like I said before, who in America are the perceived threats? They throw the MS-13 shit out there to make Latin people feel bad about themselves, right? Right? Somebody said that MAGA warriors. They'll throw the MS-13 out there, so the Latin base is like, yeah, we gotta get these niggas out of here for trumping them. We're gonna have to punish them. And they throw niggas out there so niggas can eat them. And that's really what they do, bro. The green card militia, the Africans, the fucking Nigerians and the Ghanaians, they will sell. Bruh, don't play with me. The Nigerians, if they tell a Nigerian, look, we will give you a fucking scholarship to Harvard, the Nigerian will pick up an AK-47 and will body you. Are you serious? To the fucking what do they call us? The Akatas? Come on, bro. The Haitians too, yeah. The Haitians, they ready to ride. Green card mafia. You'll have a few Jamaicans that might refuse, but there's a whole bunch of them too that will ride on us. The Kenyans, them niggas, the Somalians out there. I didn't see no Somalians. Well, they didn't show you no Somalians in Minnesota. The fucking ain't the Congresswoman Somalian? She be running with AOC. Where the fuck was she at during the George Floyd thing? She wasn't nowhere to be found. So I'm here to say that I live in a world where I know if they dangle a carrot in front of any type of immigrant class, because of the way that they feel about us, they will kill us in our sleep. They will sell us out. If all it takes for America to be great again is to get these niggas out the way, they're gonna get us out the way, bro. They're gonna get us out the way. That's right. America outsources everything. So what makes you think that they're not going to outsource a death squad? What makes you think that they won't outsource a fucking police force? What makes you think that they won't outsource some kind of, like they do this in all of the countries where they do regime changes? What do? They give the opposition weapons, right? They give the opposition, or they give the quote unquote rebels weapons. They weaponize them, they deputize them, and then they back them up while they quote unquote take out their ops, because America will have somebody else kill their opposition for them. That's how they work. You know what I'm talking about? So be very careful and pay attention to the machinations of what the government is doing behind closed doors and right in the motherfucking open in front of your face. And just pay attention to how these different nationalities are being positioned against us on the chessboard and how they're positioning themselves. Just pay attention. The Judas principle is alive in America. I promise you this. Crack is king. Our standards have been lowered as a result of it. So therefore, the walls of defense have been breached. Our women are for sale, and these niggas ain't no good. You know what I'm talking about? They not reliable. So we live in the fallout of the crack era, and nobody respects us, because who the fuck is gonna respect a grown-ass man who, or anybody that sells crack to their mamas? Who gonna respect a race of people where your woman is on sale? I mean, niggas went from selling water outside to selling women. Remember the little kids was selling water for the basketball team? Now the basketball team is out here buying one woman for $40. They taking their water money and they out here buying box. So the fallout of Hot 97, right, which is a station of Judas characters, because Patty Duke is a fucking Judas. Yusuf Hawkins was a black messiah. He was messianic because he had the whole city ready to pop off when they killed them. He touched our hearts. He touched our hearts like Trayvon would touch our hearts many years later. That's how Yusuf had us, right? So we went from that, and Hot 97 hired the enemy to a straight up not a regular racist. This racist killed a man, and this was a global story. How the fuck did they not do a background check? You mean to tell me that the executives at Hot 97 had no idea? They're gonna do a background check on RedPill if I get a job in a mailroom, they're gonna do a background check. So you mean to tell me that when they do the background check, because wherever you work at, if they do a background check on you and you a person who had a court case, or if you had anything that was in the news, it's almost like when you get locked up, you got to go to PC, because your story is a story that's in the news. Anytime you make the newspaper and you go to Rikers, you automatically go to PC, protective custody. So when he went to Hot 97 in 1994, do you mean to tell me that his case was not it was a global case? So he was a high profile person. So even if you do a background check on it, it would have had to come back home. Hold on. You killed Yusef Hawkins? Who the fuck is gonna? I don't give a fuck if you could DJ blindfolded standing upside down. You should never get work in New York City. So somebody at that station has to answer that bullshit ass story that they put. Oh, we fired him. No, they put him in protective custody and they trying to cover their ass. I will never listen to one fucking minute of Hot 97 until they tear that station down. I mean, Funkmaster, it's his time to go anyway. He's a fucking hater. He doesn't break real music. He's never really broken anybody underground. He's pay for play. This is payola on crack. He kind of destroyed hip hop. Hot 97 with the payola, right? They destroyed that shit because they were in bed with Liar Cohen. And when Def Jam took over and commercialized hip hop, this was around the time when Yo MTV Raps came out. That was commercialized, right? That was the woke version of hip hop. Yes, Flex manager Jessica Rosenblum, who with the hook nose, who used to be at the tunnel, right? And we already know when it comes to the Yahoodis, they know everybody's background because all they do is study the ledgers. They study paperwork on you all day. They know your blood type. They know when you were born. They know your birth chart. They know everything about you because they got all of the records, and they do sorcery and they find out they know your sign. You got Jewish people be knowing your birthday when you didn't even know it. You be like, damn, I forgot it was my birthday. They got a card for you. Right? Yeah. Jessica Rosenblum, who did the party at City College where all of them people got killed with Puffy. Yes, her. She's in the first season of season Belly. They threw her through the window in a scene of Belly. The first scene where Nas and them came in the building with their eyes glowing, and they was that's the tunnel. That was the tunnel where they was in. And they ran up in the room and they robbed the white lady who had the money and whatnot. That's Jessica Rosenblum. She was a very famous party promoter in New York City. That's why Funkmaster Flex was DJing at the tunnel. Jessica got him in as a DJ. Huh? You know what I'm talking about? Jessica Rosenblum is his manager, so she feasts and eats off of this old ass dinosaur, this fucking relic, who plays the same 20 songs. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Like, if you don't keep it moving, bro, he's held back real New York. He hated on Nas. He hates Nas, right? He loves Jay-Z, right? This is Funkmaster Plex, right? I at least Jay-Z when Dame was with Jay-Z. I don't know how I feel about him now, but he favors certain artists over other artists. You know what I'm talking about? So Funkmaster Flex had to know about it. Angie Martinez, he was her producer. She had to know about it. And then when Ebro and corny ass, that fucking moist ass wrestler, Peter Rosenberg, when they came up in the building, they had to know about it. So everybody got to go. Matter of fact, that radio station is detrimental to black culture. Fuck it. Fold them up. They need to get up out of there. They need to get up out of there. This was the last straw. They've already been on the fence. Like, people in New York don't even listen to them no more. But this was the last straw. And then on the heels of that, they wound up getting syndicated. The morning show with Peter Rosenberg and fucking Ebro and the other woman who I don't even know who she is. They got rid of Kay Fox, which was a sister, right? Out of Miami. Shout out to Kay Fox with your fine ass. They got rid of her. Yeah, Lisa Evers got to go too. She was married to Curtis Sliwa, which was the Guardian Angels, the racist fucking Giuliani clone. Lisa Evers, she got to go. She got to go. You know, they are anti, I would say conscious. You know, that whole radio station played a very, very big part in dumbing our people down. Right? So, starting from, I would say, Bobby Shmurda, 2014. Bobby Shmurda's a Crip. Everything that was hot coming out of New York has been gang related ever since Bobby Shmurda, right? So Bobby was the Crip. And then you had, after Bobby Shmurda, right? It was Bobby was the Crip. And it was a few other. Then Young and May was the Blood. And then Tekashi was the Blood. And then Nicki Minaj was affiliated in a way, but she wasn't necessarily gangbanging, but she had blood affiliation through Wayne and whatnot. Then Cardi B came and she's the Blood. Then Dipset came. Oh, I forgot. Dipset comes before Bobby Shmurda, right? Jim Jones brings the Bloods, right? Jim Jones brings the whole blood thing in, right? Just somebody's feeling moist. He said, look, before we start blaming African immigrants, which is 2%, why not speak up to 87% African American that are Christian, which biggest part of the problem? Two things from that takeaway. One, I've been down south. I've been to the Bible Belt. Them niggas this into the church in America, they're not underneath the same spell that them niggas in Africa are under with white Christ. And two, who said that the Africans were the problem? Who did I say that Africans were the problem? I said that if given the opportunity to be permanent citizens or given the opportunity to take the last of what the fuck is remaining out of black people's hands for America, for white America, I named the multiple groups that would do it. Not just Africans, my nigga. The Caribbeans, the Africans, the Mexicans, everybody would do it. The Indians, the Asians, I'm not singling it out nobody. I'm saying it's everybody against us. So don't take that shit personal. Hit dogs bark, nigga. Right now you're woofing. You know what I'm talking about? Right now you're woofing. You know what I'm saying? But I've never seen the type of blatant European man worship that I've seen with something that I saw how these fucking Africans is carrying on the continent in 20 for white Christ, nigga. They didn't get the fucking memo. I mean, the Berlin, the shit that the fucking Europeans did over there in the last 150 years, that's not enough. That wasn't enough. So back to what I was saying about the gang influence in New York City radio that somebody has to make them accountable for. They are pushing gang culture. They are promoting gang culture. How you talking about Garvey and RBG and saying it's everyone against ADOS? Listen, retard. What I said is because of the climate, right? That I clearly see in America right now, and the way that they are positioning people to get a fucking green card or to become a flag waving American. Yes, my nigga. It's everybody who the fuck came over here. Nigga, I was born in the Bronx, first of all. Okay? I was born in the Bronx. I don't know where the fuck you was born, but I was born in the Bronx. 1975. So the way that they putting on, man, like I said, it's them against us. That's what it's looking like. And if they had the opportunity to clear us out, or if they had the opportunity to become deputized, you know what deputized means? That means when they give you a fucking badge and a weapon and they tell you put on, like they did for the Irish, like they did for the other immigrant groups that were considered to be niggas, and they elevated them above niggas. And now you see how they move right now. So they still got tricks in their bags, and they willing to do that again. They willing to do that again. So back to what I was saying a minute ago, that Hot 97 has to answer for the promotion of a fucking lower frequency all around the world, because Clear Channel took over, and then Hot 90, there's a Hot 97 everywhere that I go. There's a Hot 97 everywhere that I go. Right? So it's been exported. It's been exported. You know? It's been exported. Yeah, bun a tribal war. I say bun it too. Bun it. But to be honest with you, we're not necessarily the ones going against anyone's tribes like that. Because if that was the case, we would be bombing on people right on Ellis Island. No, we're not going against nobody's tribe. You know what I'm talking about? As far as I know, we out here teaching the world. We out here putting on for the world. Go and read all of the books by our master teachers. We out here writing books to encourage the world. We out here healing the world. I mean, Dr. Sebi was from Honduras, right? And he came into the Americas to heal. So when individuals work together and we're not being divided, because the people that I'm mentioning, they were not underneath the fucking spell of the Caucasian. That's the only thing that I'm really pointing out. Is nothing against nobody personally. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's great. Your women are beautiful and all of that. It's when the European or the quote unquote conquistador or the crusader or the Catholic priest or your white zaddy is basically running the show and speaking for you, and he's all in your fucking head. That's when we tend to bump heads. But if you just coming over here as a fucking native, my nigga, we tend to break bread and chop it up. Like I said, I'm a native of Flatbush. So I'm Haitian by association, and I'm Jamaican on vacation. You know what I'm talking about? And we all got along well once we got our differences to the side. We had to fight. We had to knuckle up. We went to war. That's what we did. We shed blood. And then when that was over, we started to break bread, and we clicked up, and we went and banged on white people together. That's what happened in Flatbush when we were coming up. We banged on each other. Tribal war. We tried to find out who's tough and who's not. And then we went and took our show on the road. Like I said, when I went to school in Bensonhurst, we was beating up the Italians after school. Rest in peace to my brother Sharif. That was the first one that I saw going in. He knocked he knocked one of the top white mobsters out right in front of all of us. So that's what we was on. I can't speak to nobody else. But we had to know that y'all niggas was loyal. So the way that you prove your loyalty is you have to put your hands on the op. You know what I'm talking about? You have to put your hands on the op. So when that was done, we was family. And we family to this day. So I got Jamaicans that I run with. I got Trinidadians, Panamanians, Haitians, Africans, people of all backgrounds. I got Mexicans that I'm cool with. I mean, I Hondurans that I'm cool with. But what I'm gonna do though, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna speak up for the brothers and sisters that are melanated who come from these non-melanated, and I won't even call them a non-melanated island because DR is a melanated island, Cuba, melanated island, Puerto Rico, melanated island, Mexico, melanated island. It's just if you watch Telemundo, you would never know that. You would never know that. So my thing is, once we break bread with the brothers, because like I said, I'm here to unite the kingdoms. I went over to the UK and sat in the parliament. Let me show you something. I went over to the UK and we sat in parliament and we united the kingdoms. Like we went and put on for real, and we united the kingdoms. Now, real quick. Can y'all hear this? Is brought in as one of the accomplices in the murder of Yusuf. Fam, when I tell you, when people saw that up here, A, we didn't know the documentary was coming out, and B, when people saw it, it was like, what in the world?
Shocking. I know when I saw it, I was like, what is happening?
So,
lift up the curtain completely. I remember the day we were sitting here because Johnny said it was mentioned to him, and then Johnny texted us a clip. I was like, "Did y'all see this?" And all of us at the same time were like,
"Oh my God!"
I don't know if I was going to play the Homer Simpson drop, but yeah, we all did feel that way. We were like, "What the hell is this?"
And so at that moment, behind the scenes, corporate started to go to work to figure out who knew what, when had he tied, and what was
ah, man. I'm trying to turn it up, but I don't know. It's not picking it up good. I'm learning this system. I'm learning this system that I'm on. I'm on this podcast system right here. So as I learn it, I'll be able to get better with it. But hey, I don't know. Yeah, Google that shit. Google that. I don't know what to tell you. These are hot 97s people. You like, who are these white folks? These are the people who play hip hop to the world every morning, and they the ones who are steering the culture. That's Hot 97 right there. That's Ebro, Peter Rosenberg, and Laura Stiles. This is the voice of hip hop. And you wonder why New York is in a shape that it's in. You know? Hold on. Let me see something. I just wanted to show you something real quick. That when we were in the UK, you know, we was in the UK and we were uniting the kingdoms. You know, we were uniting the kingdoms. We went to the UK and we were speaking unity, right? We were talking about unity. And this was on a global level. Like, this was a demonstration that you've never seen before. You know what I'm saying? This was a demonstration that I ain't never seen nobody do nothing like this. This is us in parliament. They don't let niggas in parliament. You know what I'm talking about? They don't let niggas in parliament. Okay? So this is us in the UK parliament speaking to representatives from around the world. Okay, on a global scale. On a global scale, this was representatives from a global. This was a global conversation, a global narrative, right? Not in somebody's fucking basement, not hiding and shit. No, we was in the fucking UK in the parliament where they dictate law. This is like sitting in the White House. So we're not here playing games, bro. We're not here playing no fucking YouTube games, or we not here trying to. Niggas is not on the corner. This is a global movement. And the UK has never been the same since we had this meeting, my friend. The shit started moving ever the day that we fucking walked out of there. Things in the United Kingdom started to change for the better. So I'm here to let you know that I'm here making global moves. And when this COVID shit is over, we're going to make more global moves. So I got global representation around the world, but I'm not ever in my life not going to stop speaking the motherfucking truth about what I see and what I've witnessed and what I've been through and how I see other nations and other people who are asleep at the wheel, how they're being positioned against us. You know what I'm talking about? There's Queen Diambi. She's from the Congo. Go and look her up. She's a real queen. Not like somebody that's running around calling himself fucking queen. She's a real queen. She's a queen. When you see her, you gotta bow down to her. Not you personally. The Europeans was bowing down to her. Not black people. You could give her a head nod. She had white people bowing down to her. There goes Infudishi. So I don't ever want nobody to think, oh, because Red is talking about the different groups of nigga. I rock with everybody. I'm here to unite the kingdoms. This is a global movement, four corners, the Caribbean, the UK, the USA. I mean, not just the USA, the Americas, right? The Caribbean, the UK, and Africa. That's where our power is resting. That's where we're gonna reclaim our power in all four corners of this planet. The women, the men, the children, and the elders. Is riches, there's export and import, there's wealth, there's land, there's resources, there's things to learn, there's all kind of things that's gonna happen. Yeah, what is $10 million? That they offered them peanuts. So y'all could check this out. This is on Black History Activity Books TV. Shout out to my brother Andrew, you know what I mean? Who rolled out the red carpet for us when we came out there to the UK. Shout out to everybody in the UK doing their thing. We see you and we there for you, and we will see you once they once they open up these gates. We are going to be coming back to the UK with a bang. Something that you've never seen before, because they got the movement out there, the youth movement. And the youth movement that they got, that movement that y'all see where them brothers was marching mad deep, that's my peoples. That's my peoples. You said, what about Asia? Yeah, what about it? We're gonna pull up to Asia. We're gonna pull up to Asia. So, we've been in here for 3.5 hours, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I hope y'all have enjoyed yourselves and you learned something, and we've been dropping a few things. Yeah, somebody asked where is the quote unquote what do they call that? The super chat. Yeah, the super chat is right here with the Cash App. This is not a monetized channel. You don't see commercials when you watch these videos because they don't want to monetize this type of cloth. They want to keep this shit in goodwill. I don't blame Alphabet or Google. You're not gonna give. They like, nigga, we not gonna give you no money for shitting on us, and I get it. You know, I get it. You know, it's all good. Leave a tip though for the meal. And like I said, I got a lecture coming up on Sunday, and it's gonna be in Atlanta. I don't know who's gonna be opening up, but we do have special guests. I can't necessarily announce it uh until the ink dries. But if the opening up act is who I want it to be, you are gonna definitely be in for a very powerful classic event. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So we're gonna be in the West End at 640 Evans Street, from the hours of 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. I mean 2 to 7. Vendors will be in the building. I think we reached our vendor limit, so we might not be looking for any more vendors. Vendors will be in the building. Food will be in the building, and we will be doing our, our 1-2 thugga thugga. You know what I mean? We'll be dropping them bombs. It's gonna be at this spot, also called Unity and Coffee Cafe. And then on 9/11, we're going to be at the Royal Banquet Hall right there on Ralph David Abernathy at 9 p.m. until right there on 9/11. On 9/11, Friday. It's on a Friday, 9/11, right? This year, Halloween fell on the weekend, right? It's called a Natural Mystic Fair. They're calling out all light workers, star seeds, planetary placeholders, healers, mystics, and raw food wizards. All right. Tassili from Tassili Raw Reality. She is throwing this, so you already know it's going to be lit. You know, Tassili got all of the baddies. You know what I'm talking about? All of the goddesses roll with Tassili. So they will be there. And we will be there as well. Kambata, Sister Amina, Brother Red. I'm going to be rolling out Red Summer, that project that I've been working religiously on. So yeah, that's going to be on 9/11. But on Sunday, it's going to be RedPill doing my Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah series, the latest iteration, which is called Judas and the Blackamoor Messiah. You dig? And yeah, love and light to the family. You know, I I hope none of you Mexicans got offended. You know what I'm talking about? But you know what it is. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is, you know? So that's what it is. And I'm gonna leave it on a song. Let me play. Let's hope that this shit don't give us no more issues. Let me see. If he uploaded the Kobe song, COVID, the shit is 10 minutes, but this is Kambata back on his shit. You know, this nigga's an alien. So hold on. Trying to remember. Did I hear 24 hours in my headphones when I played it? Somebody said that they Mexican and they rocking with us. See, that's what I'm talking about. Love. You know what I mean? I feels you. I appreciate you, man. That's real right there. You know what I mean? You know that I got love for y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know that I got love for y'all. And you know that we're just keeping it 1-2 Virgils. Yeah, Master P definitely got exposed by Soldier Slim's sister. Yeah, that was kind of harsh. It's kind of harsh. But you know, it is what it is. Okay, let's see if you can hear this. Let's see if you can hear this. I wanted to play through the headphones. I still got to figure out this system that I'm on and whatnot. But this right here, Kambata dropped this shit today. This is bananas, bro. this is retarded. Like this nigga's on crack or something. Like this is crazy. Here, let me see. Can you hear it?
I can hear it even though it's quiet. Nothing small bearable in total silence. Till you're getting buried, you don't know what life is. You probably won't experience what old and wise is. Mind, body, soul divided. Saw my body dying as a cold.
Hold on. Hold on, let me see something. Maybe it's not because of that one. Oh, wait, can you hear it? I had it in my headphones. Did I try unplugging the headphones? Yeah. You can hear it? Yeah, hear it? Super low. Hold on. Whoa. That's that. Okay, here we go. Yeah, hear it now?
you need a coat to climate. The buffet, all you can eat for the ultra diet. It was therefore like a locust light. Pandemic is a plague that Jehovah's Christ with. I don't know the science, but I know that ain't the corona side. You know the science told me that's coronavirus. I was told it's like it's a SARS prototype. So it's like when it defaults in pneumonia hybrid. The 19th version of the COVID twice knowing as the other older COVID that was from beside it. The myths and the diagnosis like this. Stop working with the multiple sclerosis kindness. So got that lymphomatitis. So because you lost your breath and now you don't know where to go to find it. But I don't ignite it. Only sober because my respiratory system will explode if I put smoke inside it. COVID got me broken like my throat is white. Criminal pipe and toes. It's like it's tighter than when clothes are dry fit. Broken like Seattle coast decided in the Super Bowl is throwing instead of telling me smoke is driving. Broken like a motion diving in my age. Flying slow as the locker with Davy Jones the pirate. Probably got coronavirus coughing in the post design that caused Coca-Cola riot. I fight a multi-site. So my toilet paper roll fires big enough to TP a total island. I don't know the science, but the origin of Tobe's kindness Wuhan market with a local bias. Find the bangle in the bad people lower price next door to where the post sold the side door is tighter. Find the cost where the decomposing wireless in the laboratory where the big CFO post blinded. I don't know the science, but the radiation that you find these old devices is like the solar kindness. It's the overtime microwave overclimb to make it your immune system vulnerable to COVID virus. Apparently, coronavirus contagious is a classic monocyte, so R. Kelly focused white. We're on the subject of R. Kelly now. The bottle of coronavirus goes like a full of mindset.
How they gonna throw a commercial in the middle of it?